have the bollocks.
Do you really want to go toe-to-toe with me on that?
You've completely, like, what are we doing here? Levy isn't going anywhere.
But it's all down to timing, isn't it?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Spurs Five. Great to be with you once again. Smash a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Unfortunately, tonight, Sean's not with us because he predicted the score wrong against Man United, so he's done a runner. He's can't handle the heat. No. Sean's busy tonight, guys. He's got a lot going on, so he'll be back on Thursday's show. And if there's any grilling, we'll do it then when he's back. But you do have us three handsome individuals to entertain you this evening. We've got Lubo, Johnny, myself, and we do have a special guest who we'll bring in just a minute. Lubo, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. All good. Looking forward to tomorrow. Another match day.
Yeah, we need to get Sean's prediction, actually, because I forgot. We need to do the predictions, don't we? Johnny, how you doing, mate?
I was all right until I worked out when I got here that the missus had booked the wrong flight. And so, unfortunately, I'm travelling when the game's on. Not only am I not back for the game, which I thought I was back for, but I'm actually flying, I think, or I'm in the airport. So right now I'm trying to negotiate, trying to get to the airport early. That's going down like a pork sandwich at a bar mitzvah at the moment. So, yeah. All ready for this and all ready for life as a Spurs fan. Let's be honest, Lubo and I have seen it all, heard it all, and done most of it as Spurs fans. And most of it's been crap with the old, sprinkle of niceties thrown in. But that's life as a Spurs fan. And if your parents, unfortunately, made you a Spurs fan, I'd suggest you take it up with them. I unfortunately chose Spurs. It wasn't even thrust upon me. It was a choice. Don't know what I was thinking. Anyway.
I'm sure everyone can relate to Johnny's first world problems, booking the wrong flights back from his trip to America.
You know the answer.
We do have a guest.
Johnny, you know the answer. Tell Lynn you're staying an extra day in the sun.
Yeah.
There's your answer. Still
would have missed the flight. I still would have missed the game. But anyway, hopefully it's a game worth missing.
Stay till Wednesday, Johnny.
Yeah. Let's see what's cooking. Hello to everyone in the chat. And looking forward to the show. And
maybe missing the game is actually going to be a good thing, John.
That's what I'm thinking.
At home, we don't win, do we? So
no.
But we do have a guest. Let's welcome the individual. Who may it be? There's somebody at the door. Back again. For his second visit to the show, Ferg. If you don't know who he is, then clearly you don't have a Twitter account, but he's back. Causing mayhem on the social media. How you doing, Ferg? You all right?
I'm good, mate. You know, who are you going to call when Johnny's on holiday or Sean's off doing whatever Sean's doing? Call Fergie.
It's Fergie time.
Yeah.
No, he's a good guest, no matter whether there's four or not. A worthy guest, and always something to say.
Wow, it's not much was going to be good tonight, lads. I'm afraid not much good news.
No, it's all positive at Tottenham.
Yeah, cool.
Well, look, we did have a big game on the weekend. It was a game we were all looking forward to. Prior to the game, Lubo, Johnny and I all predicted a loss. So we get a point. We do get a point on the scoreboard, but we didn't predict the right score. Sean went for a draw, so he gets none. For once, we actually get points and Sean doesn't. But there's a lot more to the game than just the loss. I think the starting point is Romero. He's the one that's been talked about the most the last couple of days. The red card. 30 minutes into the game, straight red. Initially, I didn't think it was a red at first. When I saw it again, I thought he'd slipped because I know it'd been raining, and I honestly thought it was just he's followed through accidentally or he slipped. But after I watched it 5-6 times, by the end of the game, I changed my mind. It was a straight red. So he can't argue it. I don't think anyone can argue it. We have seen them not given. There were some inconsistencies on the weekend in other games, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't a red. It was a straight red. So, Lubo, thoughts on the game? And obviously, the big talking point was Romero's red card.
It's a real shame. After, just before the red card, I was watching it with my son. I said to him, this is shaping up to be this is looking to be a really good game. They had the first 15 minutes. We had the next 15 minutes. And I thought we looked bright. We got over the initial Alamo from United, and we started playing some decent football. And I think, we played some decent football at Burnley, should have won that comfortably. We played well in Europe twice, and we played well in the second half against City. That was a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde performance. But the signs are more positive since Heisinger, I think, came in. I think he's had a lot to do with it. And it was a real shame. And you go a man down at Old Trafford. You got 10 men against a team that are full of confidence, and it's always going to be a problem. And it didn't take long to go a goal down. For me, it was there was something there to be had on Saturday. I'm sure we'd have come away with at least a draw if Romero hadn't got sent off. And what really pissed me off, and I've been a big supporter of Romero, and I sort of changed my mind and supported him when he came out and spoke and said what he said last week. But you can't put yourself forward as a resistance fighter when you go missing when the bullets start flying, and that's what he did, and that's a disgrace for a captain to do. And now he's missing Newcastle, Arsenal, Fulham and Palace. He's not back till the middle of March when we play Palace. I think not Palace when we go to Anfield for Liverpool.
He could even miss one more because it took so long to leave the field.
It wasn't like the previous time with Liverpool,
no.
where he hung around for a couple of minutes. When he realised he was going, he did walk straight off, I think. And it's 4 games, and it'll give Dragusin, who I thought had a decent game, it'll give him a run next to Mickey. So it's not the end of the world. It's could have done with Romero there, putting in performances over the next few weeks like he did in Bilbao. But that's not to be, and I think Dragusin will do okay. So, I'm sort of positive on there. But Romero, for me, if he's opening his mouth about the board, if half the first team are supporting him on Instagram, for me, I think the guy wields too much power in the dressing room, and Frank probably wields none. And this is a culture that I think Arteta walked into Arsenal, and the board backed him and got rid of the troublemakers. And I think Romero will be on his way in the summer. I have no doubts. So that's how I feel.
Ferg, what's your take on the game and Romero?
I thought we were getting seriously pegged back for the first 15 minutes. They were all over us. I thought if anyone was going to score in the first half before the send-off, it was them. Then we had a good little spell where we had 95% possession for a good 5 minutes. Came back into it, did a couple of things. Maybe we should have had a penalty. I thought the referee was absolutely awful. I thought everything he gave them, any 50-50 he gave them, he booked Palhinha for a perfectly good challenge. Luke Shaw, definite yellow card, nothing. So that was really poor. But sending off, it killed us. You could see he was going to do it as well. As soon as a Brazilian comes near him, I think as soon as Cunha went anywhere near him, he's already starting to get eggy. It looked like he regretted it immediately. His face showed that he was trying to even do the whole Paul Casemiro thing up, but it was a red card. It annoys me that Brobby didn't get sent off against Arsenal for pretty much a slightly worse challenge. But after that, we were lambs to the slaughter, really. I thought the set-piece goal they scored was really poor defending from us. Got to do a lot better than that. We did well to hang in the game in the remainder. Second goal was always going to come. It's too difficult to say how we would have done had the game finished 11-11. They could have been all over us. We've only been playing well in short spells of games, so second half we could have crumbled. But I'm very worried now. That was another defeat we couldn't really afford, and the momentum is really badly against us. So it's another defeat.
Another defeat. Johnny, Man United game, another loss. Romero sending off. We haven't really spoken much about Frank's approach to the red card and his second half tactics. Is there anything you want to talk about on that?
Well, listen, I'd like to talk about the fact that before the game, I went on about Oliver's horrendous record whenever we play him. Whenever he's the referee, and I said to my missus before the game, he's going to give us a red. Don't know who it's going to be. My guess it will be probably Romero or someone. But he every time we play him, there's controversy, and it always goes against us. There were 10 decisions in that first half. 10. I haven't even looked at the second half yet, but there was 10 where Oliver ruled in every 50-50 it was against us. If we did a tackle, yellow card. If they did a tackle, nothing. And as far as the Romero challenge, I think, this slow-mo gets on my nerves, right? Look, the tackling ain't tackling anymore, right? I mean, when I used to watch football, there was a thing called a tackle where you went in and there was a tackle. So to sort of, I don't know, counter that, there's sort of this block tackle where they tried with the inside of that just to block the shot. And if you look at that in real time, Stel, I didn't think it was I didn't think it was a red card. But when you slow all of these things down, right, it's ultimately is going to get given the red, right? Because it looks far worse. Casemiro does what Casemiro does, and he's dying of it. He made a very speedy recovery. But that said, with everything that's going on right now as the captain, you have to be responsible for your actions. And, when you're opening your mouth and you're saying it's disappointing and the club have, let the players down, unfortunately, yet again, for the 6th time in his Spurs career, he's let the team down. And we could ill afford to lose the game, and we could even more ill afford to lose him for 4 games. I thought we played quite well. This is a Man United team, absolutely full strength, playing with a lot of freedom. This is a Manchester United team that beat Man City, that comfortably, that beat Arsenal in a very, very good game, came back to beat Fulham. So, this sort of, this expectation, I think most people's expectation when we went into the game with so many players missing was that we were going to get humped. I personally don't think we were going to get humped. Were we under pressure in that first 15 minutes? 100%. But I thought we were dealing with most of what was thrown at us. The first goal, 100%, bad defending, no two ways about it. I do think Vicario could have done better with his feet positioning, because the ball came in very slow, and as a keeper you should be trying to move your feet a little bit quicker for that. Second half, we were still in it, we were hanging on, but the problem was we were closing down and pressuring so much that you could see certain players were visibly tired. Solanke and others, they looked like they were sort of wilting. And those substitutions, they didn't enhance momentum, they sort of killed momentum. So I suppose you could level that at Frank, but I didn't see much. It wasn't like a bench laden with loads of talent. So I don't know, what could he have changed more? Maybe so, but I think, had we opened up even more, it could have been a cricket score. And there's the conundrum, isn't it? You're down to 10 men. What do? There were moments where we had free kicks. A set piece was always going to be our only way back into the game. And I don't think we really sort of did much with them or exploited much with those, 2 or 3 opportunities. Listen, it's bloody disappointing, but I don't think there's any disgrace losing to a Man United team who are banging form right now and playing the way that we'd like to see our team play. Unfortunately, we're miles off of it.
Yeah. My take on the game was they were the better team first 15. We were the better team the second 15. Romero sending off changed the direction of the game. He is massively to blame for the loss, but he's not the sole reason we lost. And the reason I say that is because when you go up to St George's Park and you do your coaching badges, the instructors, they come onto the pitch, they take a player off, they come over to you and they say, you're down to 10 men, what are you going to do? And then they assess your response and they assess what you do. Now, there's no wrong or right as long as you can back up why you're making that decision, and then they assess it. So there's no manager in world football that doesn't have to deal with going down to 10 men. That doesn't mean you're expected to win the game. It doesn't mean you're expected to get a result. But you are expected to be of a level where you can manage that situation. I personally would have done it different to Frank. Doesn't mean it would have worked. I'm just saying I would have done it differently. I wouldn't have made any subs immediately. I would have just let it ride out for 5-10 minutes to settle down and see if we can just carry on with the existing players on the pitch, go to a back 4. Because I felt by taking off an attacker, you're effectively saying, right, we're just going to try not to lose and not maybe sneak a goal. And I don't think that's the right approach, but it's not the wrong approach because there's managers that have pulled it off doing it Frank's way. Second half, I don't think Frank did anything wrong. However, I thought it was very risky waiting to the last 10 minutes to bring on attackers to try and win the game because the warning signs were there earlier. Man United scored 2 goals that were both deemed offside. So like Ferg said, that second goal was coming. I would have made the subs around 65, 70 minutes and tried to get something a bit earlier on. But by then it was too late. But like I say, guys, there's no wrong or right as long as you can back it up. I definitely would have done it differently to Frank. So, but
I was a bit worried
Johnny,
about how long he took to take Solanke off as well, because he's pivotal to the remainder of our season, and he's got to be getting towards the red zone in terms of minutes because he's just gone from 0 to like 100 really quickly. And I thought he should have taken him off a bit early, especially when it didn't look like we were going to get back into the game anyway.
Same last 2 games, actually, Ferg, to be honest with you. I was talking to my mate, the same thing with Richie. Before he got injured, I was going on, he needs to be rested. But for someone who's some unknown reason, Frank was resting Muani. I know, Richie was in much better form than Muani, but that goes without saying. But, you're taking the risk of players, and this is one of the reasons I was skipping it. But playing Spence tomorrow, there's a 10-day break after the Newcastle game, and I don't want to be risking any player tomorrow night that's on the brink, no matter who it is, because that 10-day rest and getting some players back, I would rather we go with what we got, even if it means no Solanke or whoever it is. But I don't want to be risking more players. I mean, Destiny's gone again. Again, going from, like you said, from no games to too many minutes because needs must. You know, and I know he's for the future or for later on, but I'll be honest with you, I'd be playing Sousa over Spence, not because that's what I want to do, but just from the point of view, I don't want to be taking any risks. If Spence breaks down again and he's out for 6-8 weeks, that's another major issue that we won't be able to deal with, because this board hasn't addressed what it shouldn't have addressed. What it should have addressed is trying to help Frank out, even if with a loan, some sort of loan signing that would have helped. Anyway, that's going off pissed. Oh, pissed. I wish it was off pissed, actually.
You know what? After the game, there was some comments I want us to quickly have a look at. Vicario came out and said 2 wins in the last 16 is not acceptable for this football club. And there was a bit of confusion in the post-match conference. Frank said if you look at Romero's career, he hasn't had that many red cards. And the report said he's had the most red cards for Spurs in the Premier League. And then Frank said, I didn't know that. Is Frank trying too hard to protect Romero rather than saying, look, we can't have that at the club, and maybe not naming and shaming, but making it a bit more of a factor that what Romero is doing cannot be accepted? And Vicario's comments, should he really be telling the fans that things aren't good enough when he's one of the reasons that we've lost a couple of games this season as well? Lubo, what's your thoughts on Frank's comments?
At least two. I mean, two's generous still, I reckon.
Yeah.
I think Frank's hanging on for his job, trying to carry favour in the dressing room, because by the looks of it, Romero runs that dressing room and he's got everybody behind him. And in terms of Vicario, just be quiet, let the players be quiet, and just get on and do their job properly. Don't want to hear all the moans, the excuses, the apologies. Don't want to hear it. Just get on and play well. You know, turn up from the first whistle. Don't turn up at half time like we did against City, like we have done in many games this season. You know, some games we didn't even turn up at all. Arsenal away, Chelsea at home, just dreadful. First 6 minutes against Fulham, Bodo, Monaco. I mean, it goes on and on. Wolves, Bournemouth, so many, and you know, they're professional players playing in the Premier League. I'm sorry, they should be playing better than they are. You know, you look at the so-called ability. Most of them are internationals. So just be quiet, Vicario, and get on with your job.
What about Frank's comments, Lubo? Do you think the players sent? Do you think Frank's weak and he's not tough enough?
I don't think he's got any control of the dressing room personally, and I think he's on borrowed time.
Whose fault is that, Lubo? If he hasn't got control of the dressing room, is that the players' fault? Is it the owners? Is it Frank's? You know, who ultimately is responsible for the manager not having control of the dressing room?
Well, I think you had owners that came out and backed Arteta in whatever he did. Arteta walked into a bad culture in the dressing room and got rid of several players within the first year. I don't think Frank has that backing from the owners. I think it's a completely different club. It's a club where managers don't get backed in any shape or form. Managers who come and go very, very quickly. And I think players see this and they react to this. And Frank's not a big name. You know, if it was Klopp that was in the dressing room, the players wouldn't be behaving, I'm sure, like they did. You know, Spence and Van der Ven wouldn't have ignored Klopp, you know, walking off the pitch again after a defeat with Chelsea. I never saw any Liverpool players do that in all the 9 years Klopp was there. So I don't think there's the respect for him. And I think you see that on the pitch. You know, so sometimes they turn up, sometimes they don't. It's shocking, and these are some of the reasons why we're 14th or 15th now, I think, isn't it? I don't see us going down, but again, it's another shocking year in the league. The whole club needs a reset. we need new owners, we need a new CEO, we need a new recruitment team, and we need a new coach. And with any luck, we'll get Mr. Pochettino back in the summer. And with him, hopefully, for me personally, I'd love to see Paul Mitchell come back and work alongside Poch, because they did a really good job together 10 years ago. So we'll see. No, I don't think Frank's strong enough. He hasn't got the respect of the players, and I think he's on borrowed time.
Ferg, Lubo's convinced that Poch is coming back in the summer. I want to ask you a question. Regarding the dressing room and Romero, apparently, it's all speculation, running the dressing room. If Pochettino came back, do you think we see a different Romero? They're both Argentinian. They're both defenders. They're both not scared of a dirty tackle. Do you think we'd see a different Romero, or do you think Romero is just Romero? It doesn't matter.
I think we see a different Romero immediately. I think one of the reasons that I was anti the Frank appointment is that he's not a big name in football. He's never had a playing career. He's never managed at the top level. He's never won anything. And whether we like it or not, like, players aren't going to respect that. The thing I look at our structure, no one in our club other than Johnny Heitinger has played top level football. No one. Langer hasn't. He was never a pro. He was never a semi-pro. Frank was never a pro or a semi-pro. Most of his coaches were a youth team at max. They didn't really play professionally to any decent degree. So Heitinger's the top guy, and he's only been at the club since December. So I don't know. I think there is a lack of leadership. There's a lack of gravitas to the coaching team. And the other thing it shows it really starkly is where our club is in the disciplinary league table. We're second bottom. So this disciplinary thing isn't just Romero, and it hasn't just started. It's been going on all season. We get loads of yellow cards. We're doing really poorly on the field with that. And I think it all does stem from the manager. And I do think that he isn't strong enough to manage at a club of our level and players of the level that he has. He's great when he's got people that will come and do what he wants, who are young or have never played at any real level. But I think it's a bridge too far for him. And we're seeing that. I was discussing what Spence and Van Ven did to them. And as Liba said, you're not doing that to Poch. Poch isn't going to put up with that. He'd have him out. And Romero will respect him because he played for Argentina in a World Cup.
Johnny, what's your take on this one? Do you think Pochettino gets a different tune out of not just Romero, but other players as well? But obviously, especially Romero, because Romero seems to be the current problem that's being discussed. What's your take on Poch coming back? Does he get a different tune out of these individuals from a mentality perspective?
It's interesting because it obviously hasn't worked out exactly the same, but I remember distinctly when Poch was at Southampton saying to my son that, you know, this manager is special. There's something special about him, the way he coaches, the way he brings kids forward, and get your money on him. I reckon he's going to be the next Spurs boss. Unfortunately, he didn't win because we had an interim manager, but and I obviously wrongly looked at Thomas Frank early days, you know, watching him at Brentford in the Championship and then moving forward, that he potentially had the potential to become a really good manager. Obviously, he's failed in that step up, like many managers, like Roy Hodgson when he moved to Liverpool, when Potter moved to Chelsea. You know, I think there's quite a few examples of managers moving from showing promise, moving up and not fulfilling it, as Ferg said. But with Poch, Poch had a way about him of knowing the characteristics of a player and how to play around with those characteristics. You know, the ones that needed the arm around the shoulder, the ones that needed a kick up the arse. And he certainly knew how to bring through talent, as we saw in the interview. Despite thinking that Harry had the talent, the club, as usual, having backed a manager, had other ideas and wanted to bring in Danny Welbeck. I'm not saying that Danny Welbeck hasn't had a really good footballing career, but how would that one have turned out if Harry had left for ENIC and we'd have seen the career that he's gone on to have, and we ended up with Danny Welbeck. I just think that his talent ID and his ability to bring players through. We saw it at Southampton, how many players went into the England setup. We saw it at Spurs, how many players that came through and ended up in the England setup. And Thomas Frank, I presumed, would be looking at some of the academy players, and maybe he's given Byfield a couple of games, but that's needs must rather than embracing it. I mean, in fairness to Thomas Frank, and I think we have to be fair here. I know we talk about this, but I don't think any team right now could deal with 12, 11, 10, whatever you want to say, first team injuries without it affecting the setup and the style of play. It ain't making an excuse. It's to me, it feels like a factual thing.
Wasn't that the same last year though, Johnny?
Because Ange did. Yeah, Ange did. But the difference with Ange was he had no interest in conditioning coaches. We had players. We were playing a completely different style of football, right? But we had no conditioning coaches or no conditioning to cope with the high line and the constant tracking back, which is why we ended up with so many hamstring injuries, and the fact that Jeff Scott left, who'd been there for many years, and said to him, "Look, this isn't sustainable." And a lot of staff.
We only had 3 hamstring injuries last.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying what I know. Okay,
everyone. Because you said we had a lot of hamstring injuries. We didn't. We only had 3 hamstrings.
Right. We know what the injuries were. Okay, and we know why they
weren't hamstrings.
Right.
They weren't hamstrings.
Right. Well, Mickey's was hamstring, right?
That was one.
Yeah. Okay. Right. If you want to tell me, listen, I choose to believe, Stel, what I'm told from people who are working within the club rather than, And Johnny, what I know is Jeff Scott left along with lots of other top physios and others because of what was going on. So all I'm saying to you is they left. That void wasn't filled. Okay, it was a big gaping hole, and what they've been trying to do, and extremely slowly, not quick enough, is fill that void up. It ain't excuses. I'm just saying what it is, right? I would say that Frank's injuries are spread from front to back, and without a doubt, Angie's injuries were mainly concerned around the back. But what I would say about that was...
What do you mean? We lost Maddison, Bergvall and Kulu.
Yeah, we lost Maddison towards
all attackers.
We lost them towards the end. I was at the ground when he went, right? I know exactly when he went, right? He wasn't there at the start, was he? He was there at the start. They got injured towards the end, right? Maddison got injured in Frankfurt away, mate, right? That was in when? March?
Johnny, can I ask something on this? Because it does feel like a bit of a bias to me, right?
It's not biased, mate. I'm stating facts.
Well, so am I. Because to me, what caused the injuries? Who didn't cause the injuries? The fact is, both managers had a lot of injuries to deal with. Both did. Whatever caused it, whatever was behind it, both had to deal with a lot of injuries. So is it not fair that if Frank gets, a bit of a pass, then so should Ange? Or give Frank a pass, but then also give Ange one? Surely that's got to be fair.
No, it's not. Because Ange refused to... What I'm about to tell you. Because Ange refused to adapt his tactics to the fact that he had half his defence out and continued to play a high line. Playing Dragusin, right, who had played in a back 3 for Genoa, right? And suddenly he's playing high line and being exposed game after game after game. What I would have given Ange more credit in that situation, having to adapt some of his tactics to drop back a bit, which is what I was asking for at that moment, right?
But Johnny,
try and
should
change
Frank
his
not
tactics.
have rested Kudus rather than playing him constantly all the time and having one
And
tactic
Porro.
and giving him the ball? And
And
Porro.
Porro.
There's numerous players that Frank's clearly redlined this season too.
And
Yeah, look,
Virgil.
I'm not saying they haven't been overplayed, but what I was about to say was, you know, we haven't had. Destiny's been more or less out, so Spence has been playing left back instead of playing right back. Listen, none of it's perfect. I'm not going to sit here and wipe Frank's arse, but I think I'm just trying to give a balance here, right? I think both of them have made huge mistakes, right? Ange made huge mistakes, and so has Thomas Frank. And if he doesn't rectify them, he's going to be out of a job. I won't be crying if he gets the sack because he would have deserved to get the sack. I'm just saying, for me, the Frank's injuries right now are front to back, and it's sort of handicapping him really to what he can do. The team more or less picks itself right this moment, I would say.
Lubo, do you have a take on this? Do you know, Johnny's got his view on it. Ange had a ton of injuries. Frank's got a ton of injuries. Do you think both managers perhaps need to be given a break rather than, you know, one manager on the optics looks like he got a lot more hatred for the injuries than what Frank's getting. Do you think there needs to be a bit more balance with this, or do you think it's justified?
I think Ange has got more hatred than Frank on the injuries still, because he wouldn't listen to the medical team. He wouldn't listen to his coaching team. I was talking to somebody who's involved in conditioning, who knew what was going on at the club, and Ange ignored everybody, like last season and the season before, when he was told that Ange wanted to create a match situation in training. He told us that himself. But it was too much. You know, you've got to wind them down. You've got to build them up for the matches. You can't have them playing at the same level of intensity right the way through a week of training. And for me, Ange had injuries that affected him, of course. Why I can't stand Postecoglou, and I can't stand him with a vengeance. People know that he's the worst manager for me. And I've seen some shit managers through the years. Terry Neal was poor. Stellini was dreadful. Santini was poor. Gross was poor. Nuno wasn't that good. But what got me about Postecoglou was he came in giving it large. And when he got sussed out, when the rest of the Premier League sussed him out, and listen, he came in with very innovative tactics. You know, he played the fullbacks inverted as 10s. He played a back two. And it was a style of play that I hadn't seen in all the years I've been following football. And it worked at first, and he caught everybody on the
Ange was specifically hated for the injury crisis.
Well, no, for me, I'm just talking about me. I'm just talking, the way I felt about Ange was that obviously he contributed to some of the injuries by not listening to the medical team. For me personally, I didn't like Ange because when the rest of the Premier League sussed out his tactics and we started losing games, he wouldn't change. He was so bloody arrogant. It's my way or the highway. I've done it in Japan, Australia and Scotland. I'm going to do it in the Premier League. Well, the players are better. The coaches are cuter. And it's all very well when you've got the best players in the league in Scotland, and you can afford to let in two because you're always going to score 4 or 5. You've got the better players.
So why did Ange finish 5th in the league in his first season?
Because he caught everybody on the hop in the first 10 games, and after the next 10 games, his league record, he went down. First 19 games still, 36 points. Second 19 games, 30 points. Third 19 games, 24 points.
Well, the first season isn't over 60 games, so 19 and 19. So the first 19. Hold on.
Just talking league. Just talking league.
I'm asking about the first season. So the first half of the season, he got how many points?
He got 66.
No, the first 19 games.
First half of his first season, he got 36 from 19.
And the second half of the first season?
He got 30.
A 6-point difference, and that's called downhill. a 2-game difference, and that's downhill.
Well, he would have finished had the
I think
season.
we finished 17th, didn't we?
Well,
No, I'm talking about the first season
like the
because
first season,
Lubo,
Johnny.
All right.
season, after the first 10 games.
Lubo, one second. No, I'm putting up what you just said. You said when well, I could just nod my head and agree with you guys if you prefer. I don't mind. No? Okay.
From Chelsea to Sheffield United. From Chelsea to Sheffield
I got it.
United.
The first 19
I
games.
was at those
36
games, so I can
points.
vouch for it. We got progressively worse.
I get it. I'm just trying to challenge the point. So the first 19 games, he won 36 points. The second 19 games, he won 30 points, and that's called downhill, a 2-game difference.
Yes, it was. It wasn't just.
Yes, it is. So two less games won is downhill.
Let's split it off even further. First 10 games, 26.
I'm talking about the first season because he came 5th.
I'm talking about the first. We were top after 10 games.
Yeah.
We had 26 points. For the next 28 games, out of 84 points, we got 40.
See, now you're moving the goalposts. You've gone from 19 games. Now you're changing the goalposts.
Was that after he got sussed out, he did brilliantly first 10, 26 points. He won Manager of the Month 3 times. Everybody was really excited. And then he got sussed out. Then the coaches started we'll play down the channels. We'll play behind the fullbacks who aren't there. We'll stretch them. We'll play into spaces. We'll hit them on the break. We'll close down and then we'll break quickly and we'll counter-attack. And the last 28 games, we had, take out the first 10, our record in the last 28, we were 12th. But because we'd done so well in the first 10 games, we actually, overall in the season, we finished 5th. But again, he didn't look at it at the end of that season and say, do you know what? I've been sussed, had a great start, break it down. The season got progressively worse. The results got progressively worse. The injuries.
Well, they didn't because the second half of the season he only got 6 points less. It's not.
But he lost against all the top teams. Still.
And so
okay. Let's play this game. Let's take out. Yeah, go on.
Ferg, I'll come back to you. Yeah. Just one thing. See, I totally disagree with what you said, Lubo. What I think happened is this. I agree with Danny. I think because he only had 1 game a week, that's why he got 5th. And as soon as he had to go and play multiple games and Europe, he didn't have the squad for it, and the injuries proved it. And I think Frank is suffering from the exact same problem as Ange. He's on multiple fronts, Carabao, FA, Europe, and the league, and he hasn't got the squad for it, and the injuries now have crippled him. So in the first season where Ange had 1 game a week, he was fine. And I think if Frank had 1 game a week, he'd be fine. But because Frank hasn't got 1 game a week, same as what Ange, they both completely capitulated because neither of them have got the squad to compete. That's what I think.
Listen,
so do you blame the ball? Sorry, yeah, I can agree with
100%, 100%. 100% I blame the board, yes.
Even in Poch's years, we were always 2 players short. We had a great first 11 or 12, 13. We didn't have a squad. I remember we went to West Ham.
No, but we had a better squad that could compete. Let me bring Fergie because I know you want to speak. Fergie, let me bring you in because you wanted to speak and I cut you off. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I don't want to go down the road of the Ange versus Frank argument yet again, but if we're going to take 10 games away from Ange, if we take, say, 10 games away from Frank, we're 18th in the Premier League. I mean, this guy's season has been horrific beyond belief. Both of them got found out quickly. Both of them can't handle managing in Europe and don't have enough experience of dealing with both. And so something was going to give. You can apportion blame on both. Injuries, you can apportion to both. I think it's just very, very silly to try and back either at the moment. It was this season's just abjectly dreadful. We're in the difference between this season and last season. We're in a real relegation battle this year because the bottom 3 aren't as awful.
Well, I think they are, but West Ham did business and they've got the bit between their teeth. They actually addressed their problems by getting the attackers in. So, yeah, no, you're right then, yeah. And in fact, you're right. They are. They're not as bad, yeah.
Would you say we're teetering on the brink of the relegation zone at the moment? We're in relegation form, but we're just on the brink. We lose the next two, we're bang in it. But we're not.
So much is about momentum, and we don't have any momentum because we've only won 2 games in 16, and we haven't won a game in 7.
Ferg, let's go into
momentum.
Let's go into it. The relegation conversation is one that a lot of channels are now having. I actually took this screenshot on yesterday, preparation for today's show, but then Crystal Palace went and frigging beat Brighton, so I had to change it. So we're now 15th, and relegation to Spurs is 6 points. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that are all battling to not get that 18th place. So West Ham, Forest, Leeds, Tottenham, Brighton. We get to play Forest and Leeds at our ground. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but we do get to play them at our ground, which are now going to be 6 pointers. Plus, we've got Palace, who are just above us. So that, I guess, is that a 6 pointer maybe?
Yeah. We need 13 points, I would say, Stel. Would you say 13 points?
I think 11 will do. I think 40 points should be enough.
Well, 42.
I think it's going to be a high.
13,
I think it's going to be a high points tally this year.
Yeah,
I don't
42
think
points we're going to need. I think.
I think it depends what the teams around us do. If I'm honest with you, I'm more worried. I find I'm looking at their results more than I'm looking at mine at the moment.
Brighton's
good thing.
Results
are
right as well. Us and Brighton, we're the ones who are playing the worst, getting beaten the most often. Brighton have won 1 game in 12, and we've won 2 in 16. So
yeah, Brighton fans
worrying.
were chanting for Herzler to be sacked yesterday. They were chanting his name to be sacked. So, go on, Johnny. Go on.
No, I was just saying, it's funny how, with fans, with fan bases, it's obvious that, the freedom that they suddenly found under Michael Carrick has worked, but it also coincided with all their players coming back and, probably only 2 games where they've had all the players fully fit. But then you have things like, Howe, who was under pressure. Then he had a whole series of games where he did really, really well. And then it was all back. Howe's great again. And now he's on a run where he can't get a game, can't win a game properly. And he's got a couple of injuries, but nothing anywhere near as bad as what we've got. And yet the fans are, turning on him. Now, we know that Eddie Howe is 100% a good coach. I believe he's a good coach. But I remember when he was linked with Spurs, when he was free after he'd left Bournemouth, and he was at Tottenham as a guest, and all the section in the West Ham, they're all messaging, we don't want that Eddie Howe. He's absolute toilet. I think he's a good manager. But point I was trying to make was how fans can swing from left to right, with a manager, onslaught from hero to zero to hero to now, booing the defeat against Man City. I think Thomas Frank has come in, and I thought he was always going to have a really tough task, balanced between the expectations after winning the Europa League, and also to those fans who were, aghast at the fact that the board had sacked Ange Postecoglou, who for some was an absolute hero. He wasn't a hero of mine. I was delighted we won in Bilbao. And I just think, I think even if Frank turns it around and starts winning games, I think it's a thankless task he's got to win over the fan base. And I think it's inevitable. I would not be shocked at all. I don't think most of us would be if members of the board had already spoken to Pochettino, which is why we didn't spend any money in the window, in the hope that we'd be able to grit it out, stay up, and next season we'll give all of that purse to Pochettino. That's what most people are hoping for. I would be more than happy with that to happen. But in the meantime, it is what it is, and he's the guy that we've got. I've said right from the off, since Heitinga came in, that I believe he's a good coach. I know he got sacked from Ajax, but he was told not to take the job. This romantic notion that he could turn it around when everyone said that the team, the squad at the moment it's impossible. Don't take the job. But I've seen progress in the sort of 4 or 5 games, although it's small, little things that the players and the team were doing to suggest that there has been a turnaround, but it hasn't resulted in wins. And we're in the win business. Football is all about the win business. But we shall see. That is what it is right now. And I'm for toughing it out and getting behind the team and getting behind everything that's going on in the club because until the summer, because I don't want my club going down, and I don't think riding everybody in the club is going to help us until the summer. That's my opinion.
Johnny, do you think, and I'll ask Lubo and Ferg the same question, do you think Spurs, not will we go down, because no one knows the answer to that until it does or doesn't happen, but do you think Spurs could seriously find themselves in a proper full-blown relegation scrap with 6-7 games to go? You do?
Yeah, I do, because it's there in black and white. And, can I see us beating Arsenal? No. Can I see us beating Liverpool away? No. Can I see us beating Chelsea away? No. Historically, they are 2 games that we've always struggled in. So the answer is no. And as you quite rightly said, Stel, our home form is terrible. Look what it was against Wolves. Look at it was, against against West Ham. So, only a fool would sit there and say, nah, there's no chance of it.
Lubo, same question. Do you see Spurs potentially in a proper relegation scrap? We've got Newcastle tomorrow, which now looks like one of the most important games of the season. They're in bad form. They're not winning games, but we also know that there's also a doctor that likes to turn up for these moments. And will the doctor see the next patient tomorrow, Lubo?
I think we'll get out of it. Tomorrow, I think has probably got draw written all over it. Just sort of thinking about it, thinking that Newcastle are poor away. I think their record away is the same as ours is at home. 1-2, drawn 4, lost 6. 2 teams that are out of sorts at the moment. It could be a fantastic 7 goal thriller. But I probably think it's going to be a 1-1 ball draw. Arsenal, we're not going to get anything, but I do see us the last 5 home games. I know our home record has been shocking up to now, but we've got Everton, Brighton, Leeds, Palace, and Forest at home last 5. Not in that order, but I don't see any reason why we can't win most of those games. I genuinely think we'll get out of this. I think when it comes to it, I think players will step up. I think players will be back after the international break. We got nearly 3 weeks between Forest at home on March the 22nd and Sunderland away on the weekend of the 11th of April, because you've got international weekend the following weekend, and the first weekend of April is the FA Cup. So we'll have a 3-week break. We should hopefully have several players back by then. And I think for the last 6 or 7 games, I think we'll be okay. Villa and Chelsea away, I don't see us getting anything. But I see us winning quite a few of the others. Wolves away, I mean, they're so far down now. They're gone. But I see us getting something at Wolves. I don't think we'll go down. I think we have got enough. West Ham, we've got Fulham away, City at home, Villa away in March, which isn't the nicest of runs for them in that month. I think we'll be okay, but I think for me the bigger problem is the owners, and they've got to decide what they want to do with this club. Do they want success for this club? If they don't, for Christ's sake, sell it. Because if the worst thing does happen, and we do get relegated, financially it'll be catastrophic for the club. It will be shocking, and the Lewises will have to put big money into the club, because they are going to have big problems. the revenue from everything next season will just dive. Players will be going. I mean, we'll probably get several 100,000 from players leaving in the summer. But
can I just add, Lubo, just for a sidebar issue here, AIA have now left us as the main shirt sponsor. Good luck to the person who's trying to negotiate and upwards to get a top draw shirt sponsor for the next 5 years. There's going to have to be caveats in that. We'll only pay you X unless you get into Europe, unless you start challenging. Who wants to jump behind a brand that every 5 minutes is bad? They don't want to be associated with a bad egg. And right now, I would say if you lined up all the news that surrounded Spurs since the start of this season, probably going into last season as well, bar the win in Bilbao, it's toxic. Demonstrations, things against the board. It's not exactly a backdrop for anyone to align their brand with.
I'll tell you what, if we do go down, we'll be begging Romero to stay for Millwall away.
Millwall could be coming up still, along with Wrexham.
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Millwall go up and we go down?
Ferg,
are you as positive? Do you think we're
I don't know when we're going to
get confident we stay up, or do you think it's actually quite a serious situation?
I think it's quite a scary situation. I think if we don't do something drastic in the next few weeks, I don't think we're going to win tomorrow. I think with Dragusin in, we don't have Newcastle are really good at pressing, and we don't have defenders that are particularly good at playing around the press. Dragusin is someone they'll target. Even if we draw, a point's decent, but not enough. Arsenal are going to blam us. They're going to absolutely pound us. I can't imagine how toxic if we lose both those games. It's going to be full time against Arsenal. I genuinely can't see many games we're going to win, and I don't know if I'm just being pessimistic. It's just the fact we can't win at home, and we barely won a game in months. Like we've won one home league game since August 16th, and we've only won 2 games in our last 16. Like, it's hard to see us arresting that without something drastic happening. We got to play for a whole game instead of a half decent when we're losing. I think they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. They stick with him. We could end up going down. If they twist, they could bring in the wrong guy, and then we could still end up going down. So everything's on a knife edge. We need to get players back fit quickly so that he can change things up. But I got a feeling if we lose the next 2, he's toast. I think he'll go. I think they'll put Hyatt and go in.
Mate, do you know what? I don't think they're going to sack him, Ferg. For me, I was done. The West Ham game was the game for me. That's where I said, if he, that's the one game you cannot lose. I don't care who you are, who the manager is, even if it's freaking Pep. You can't lose that game. When we lost that, I cashed out. So the fact the board is still sticking with him, I
can you imagine the heat? If we get blammed against Arsenal, can you imagine the heat that's going to be on in that stadium? If they beat us 4-0, can you imagine what it's going to be like?
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I agree. But they've had plenty of opportunities where things like that have happened, and they haven't sacked him. So what makes you think they would sack him for that game?
I think there's been a few of the games that the way it's ended has been more positive, where we looked like we were going to get smashed and we didn't quite get smashed. Or, the City game, it looked like it was going to go toxic. Then we had a really good second half. We got back into the game. He gets a free pass for the Man U game because of the red card. But Newcastle's a tough game. Right. If we lose narrowly, I think it'll just maybe a few boos. It's that Arsenal game at home. After the way we played against them earlier in the season, if they're beating us 2 or 3-0 at half time, it's going to be awful. And I don't think we're good enough to have a good half against them.
We've got to see what squad we can put out against them as well. All right, look, let's do some super chats. Johnny, do you need to go or can you stay a bit longer?
No, I need to go, guys. To everyone in the chat, sorry, apologies. Enjoy the chat. Ferg, always good to see you. and no
Cheers, mate.
doubt we'll see you soon. Good luck with your new one. Stel, Lubo, speed. Well, I'll speak after. We'll message after in the group.
No,
right?
score prediction.
Oh, score. Jesus. Well, I'm really good at this, guys. So whatever I do the opposite. I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2. All right.
All right.
Cool. Johnny's gone
Guys,
for 2-2 against Newcastle.
I'm saying it with a laughing face because it's more out of hope than chance. Joel Linton's out. Gordon and Miley are doubts, but I wouldn't be surprised if they come through. But Gumaresh is back, and he's the guy that drives them forward. So going to need to Paulinia and Gallagher are going to be crucial in the game. That's for sure. In the middle of the park. So let's see, guys. Love to you all. See you soon. Bye for now. Come on, Spurs.
See you later, Johnny. All right, we'll just do some tube chats quickly. Quick reminder, OK Jersey, the sponsor of the channel. Get all your merch, your apparel, the things you like to wear on a match day. Code is 5, F-I-V-E. Get 8% off at the checkout. Go and treat yourselves or your loved ones. Got a super chat from Eureka Car. Thank you. My worry is Newcastle's players came out publicly at the weekend and took responsibility for the loss. Where is the ownership from our players? Our players say sorry every week. They just take it in turns, don't they? Yeah. This week it was Vicario.
Yeah. No, they're not backwards. They're coming forwards.
Random Andre says, as a Romanian Spurs fan, I hope that Radu Dragusin steps up to the task. Come on, you Spurs. So do we, mate. So do we. Hey, user, channel regular, how you doing? And chose burnout. Frank never had a choice. That's his take on the injury crisis. Dean Law, thank you for the super chat. We don't have the choo-choo noise because Sean does it, but choo-choo. Choo-choo to you. And Stephen J. Cam says, if we finish 14th and Poch comes back, who's the club attracting in the stellar summer window that Lange reckons we can get? Who will leave with no Euro football? Good question. If we do get Poch and there's no European football next season, because we finished 14th, what caliber of player are we going to attract, guys?
Are we going to keep our players as well? Like, it's just so many. There's so many factors to it all that just, what's the two centre halves going to be like? There'll be various players that other clubs are looking at. I mean, Kudus didn't exactly stay that loyal to West Ham. He was out when they had no European football. I don't know who we can attract, but Poch maybe can help. Maybe he's got some pull with players that, we don't know. But we need a smaller squad if we're not in Europe anyway. And our squad's already quite large. So it'll be about moving people on and, bringing quality in so that we've got a good 15, 16 rather than having to worry about a 25-man squad.
Do you know what I was thinking? Do you know what I'm thinking? When Poch was here, what top players did we attract? I don't think we did. We unearthed talent that he developed. We didn't sign one superstar player, did we?
No, none of them were superstars. Toby, we got from Atletico Madrid when he was on loan the season before at Southampton. Wanyama we got from Southampton. Son we got from Leverkusen. Like, it's not like we went out and got mega players. I mean, the biggest player they probably signed was near the end, wasn't it? Lucas Moura and Ndombele. And Ndombele was a disaster. No, but I mean, Lucas Moura at the time was like...
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the fact that's our superstar signing.
But he was one of the bigger names, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think the next coach, whoever it is, even if it's Frank, forget this signing top players. We just need to sign players who are of a good level that the coach coaches. The coach has to coach them because that's the club we are. We're not going to attract the top players, unfortunately. So we need someone that can develop players. If that's Frank, then he needs to start showing it. If it's not Frank, then that's what Poch is going to have to do, because I don't. Lubo, do you see us attracting top players to Spurs, or are we going to have to depend more on developing them as a club?
Well, we're buying players of a certain level at the moment, aren't we? We're bringing players in like Polina, Kudus, Gallagher, who are probably of a certain level. You're not going to attract the players like Semenyo.
I can't even hear Lubo.
Sorry?
I can hear him.
Oh, okay.
You're not going to get players like Semenyo, unfortunately. And we've got to build ourselves back as an attractive club to come and join. And that means being consistent, being around the top 5 or 6, maybe challenging top 4. And the only person who can do that, who can hopefully bring some good times back, who the fans are going to get behind and who the fans are going to have patience with, is Poch. Because nobody gives any managers any time at all. This fan base, I think.
I can't hear what you're saying. I'll come out and come back in.
Okay, I think in the defence of the fans, I think the fans have just been fed up with so many years of underachievements, and it has been. And I think people are fed up. People are fed up, but the way the fans show it is in the ground. That's the only way that they show it these days. At the moment, it's against Frank. Last year, it was against Levy. It is what it is at the moment. We're not attracting the top. We're not attractive enough at the moment. We will be. Listen, we need new owners who are going to come in and hit the ground running and show football, show the world of football that they mean business. I think that's where we need to be. Otherwise, it's going to be a long haul back. I really do.
Got another super chat from Snilla. Very generous of you. Another channel regular. Attends all the protests as well, by the way. Big up to Snilla. Thank you for your super chat. He says, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow's game. Feels like another Dr. Tottenham performance. Snilla, if it is, then you're going to see Ferg's toxic environment erupt, as he's predicting, if we do lose. Yeah. God help us if we lose tomorrow. Eamon, no shade. Frank won't be sacked this year. I agree. I say that, but Ferg thinks that if we get pounded in the next 2 games, then Frank will be gone. Luba, what do you think? If we lose to Newcastle and then get smashed by Arsenal, do you think Frank gets sacked, or do you think it's gone too far now? They're just going to see it to the end regardless?
No, I think quite possibly Frank will go. If we lose the next 2 games, depending on, if West Ham and Forest are picking up points. Forest are at home to Wolves this midweek. Forest get 3 points, they're level with us. Leeds go to Chelsea. You would expect Leeds. You would expect Leeds to get beaten at Stamford Bridge. If we lose the next 2, and the fans erupt against Arsenal, and that ground is really toxic, then you've got to look at it and think to yourself, the owners will finally wake up and realise what's going on at the club. I keep saying it, I'll repeat it again. There's nobody on the board with any football knowledge, know-how, nous. Is that, if there was, then people like Vinay would be pulled out. Lange probably wouldn't be in a job after his miserable failure in the January transfer window. For me, it was a really bad failure. He's listened to his interview last week, full of excuses. He's not paid to make excuses. He's paid big money to make things happen.
Yeah, but hold on, Luba, 1 second. But the club were happy for him to put that video out. So as much as you want to blame Lange, the club were happy for him to put out that video spiel and to post it on the official Tottenham site and say, this is our response. Someone must have put that video.
They wanted to take the heat away from fan protests. So for me, that was them trying to shut the fans up, basically. And for me, it made it worse because these guys are paid to do their job, to make sure that there are 2 windows during the year, and that's what their job is built around. June to end of August and the whole of January, and they've got to work in between to make sure line-up deals, work with the managers, see as the season goes on what gaps there are in the squad, what players need replacing, and they failed miserably, absolutely miserably. Gallagher was a reaction to the Bentancur injury, and apart from that, Johnson wasn't replaced. So
and he's our he's our 5th top goal scorer in all competitions, and we sold him.
Yeah,
and we didn't replace him.
That's right. Yeah,
I was arguing for not getting rid of John. I was arguing for Johnson for half of the season, and now he's gone. Everyone's like saying, "Oh, we let him go," and because I just knew we weren't going to go and get attackers this window. And this whole Semenyo thing, I never once believed Semenyo was coming to Spurs. I just couldn't see it.
Nobody did. It was.
Do you know how many fans thought we were going to get him? The same lot that thought that Savinho was coming this window as well. And I thought, we're not getting Savinho. Like,
the chart.
Why would you need Man City to come to Spurs? Like, for what? Unless you're
injured anyway.
The chance to buy Semenyo was last summer.
Yeah.
We offered 50 million. If they'd have offered 70, they'd have probably got him.
But we got like a lack of goal scorers in the team. We're not getting enough goals, and they sold a player that scores goals. Your brain says they're going to go out and get another goal scoring player, but they didn't. They got Gallagher and a left back, and we needed the left back for ages. It probably would have helped us with the squad rotation because we didn't have one to change things up. And now, like, who's our top goal scorer? Like, it's Richarlison who's injured, then it's defenders.
Yeah.
Then it's the guy who's suspended for 4 games.
Yeah. There's Mickey. In all competitions, it's Mickey, then Romero. But yeah, it's 2 centre halves.
And then Polinia.
Yeah.
And then Salah, and then Solanke.
He couldn't help himself. He tried hard, but his ears were burning. He was itching.
He's back.
Oh, what's happened?
You got to make room for me, mate. Got to make room for me.
No,
he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle it.
I'll take back the captain's armband from here, mate.
Host seat as well. Look at him. What bully tactics, man.
What's going on? How's everyone doing? I just got home.
It was really positive. Really positive.
Was it?
No.
No?
Do you know what, Sean? You've actually come at the right point, because I was just about to bring up, because I had to cover this on tonight's show, right?
How wrong you were about Romero?
Michael Carrick. How wrong you were about Carrick, right?
How wrong you were about Romero? Yeah, okay, yeah.
We did Romero for 30 minutes.
Did we? Okay.
Just so you can have your say, but you've already put out your multiple videos on your channel about Romero, so people can go and watch it on Spurs Talk Show. But guys, this is what I mean about coaching. Okay, I just want to show you this. I'm sure you may have seen it already. Okay, and I just want to briefly talk about it because this is something I know a lot about. Believe it or not, this was during the game against Spurs. Okay. Right. That is all coached, the whole thing, right? You didn't see that under Amrin. And what you see is a constant rotation of a diamond built by 2 triangles. So a triangle and a triangle with a rotating diamond, and the diamond moves around the pitch. I've coached that. I look at that, I know exactly how that's done. And when I see Carrick doing that with Man United after 4 games, and by the way, they did that against Arsenal and they did that against Man City. In fact, against Man City, they did it outstandingly well. And they were doing it against us. Now, what I'm going to hear from fans is, but look at the players Man United have got. Okay, fair enough. But let me respond with this. I did that with 12-year-old kids. 12-year-olds who never got signed into academies. Coaching is coaching. Now, they might not do that consistently every minute, every 10 minutes, every 30 minutes, but those passages of play, that movement of the ball, that manipulation of the play, any good coach would know how to do that, and you can get a team doing it. Now, does it mean you're going to win a game? No. Does it mean you guarantee success? No. But what it does, it keeps possession of the ball. It's nice on the eye, and it doesn't allow the opposition to settle. The amount of times I saw Man United against Spurs quickly zip that ball forward into our box and either ping it wide or back in, and they took first-time shots, not allowing us to shut it down. I must have seen that about 8-9 times in the game. It's all coached. So when I see that, and I see Carrick doing that, and I know how he's doing that, when I see that, and I've done it with kids, right, not grown professional adults, there's no excuses when I see my manager playing the kind of football we play, and Carrick within 3-4 games does that. Look, yes, United have got better players. You can get a team playing, you can get most teams playing like that if you're prepared to do the coaching that develops that. So I want to know what you think on this, because when I see it, guys, I see a lot of things that I don't think a lot of fans understand how you get to that place, but how it's possible with any group of players. But like I say, it doesn't guarantee you're going to score goals and win games, though. It doesn't. But that type of
are there players more willing to listen to Carrick because he's a Premier League winner, he's a Man U legend, he's won the European Cup and he's done all these things, than they are a manager with no tenure of doing anything high up in the game? Like, I think there is a bit of that, and there's a degree of the new manager bounce too. A new voice when you're fed up with the old voice.
It's a factor. It's a factor. But again, the art of coaching isn't having a history that people respect. It's your ability to transfer knowledge. How well can you transfer knowledge to your players? That is what
I'm talking about at the top level for top players to listen to you. I do think it does help that you've done it in the game too.
Did it help when Mourinho came to Spurs?
Was that clip against 10 men though?
Yes.
I can show you the same clip against Arsenal, against Man City, against Fulham when it was 11 versus 11.
But 11 against 11 still, we had as much of the game, and we moved the ball quickly going forward in those 15.
Lubo, we did not play like that.
No, but we play a different way.
But it's not the only way to play football is the tick-attack of football. Like, yes, it does look pretty, but it also increases the risk of getting picked off if you're not perfect with the passing. Yes, you can coach it. I agree with you. That's just not Thomas Frank's style, is it? It wasn't Mourinho's style. It wasn't Conte's style. Conte tried it in fits and starts, but he had players that were more capable of doing that stuff. It's a version of football. It's a pretty version of football for sure. But you do definitely need to have certain players that are capable or more comfortable with that sort of environment. And I don't think that we do, personally. I think that if we try to do that, we would give the ball away more than we already have done. Pape Sarr, for example, cannot do that sort of thing. But Pape Sarr, you could give Pape Sarr the ball 10 times, 100 times, and if he was trying to do that, 95 of them would go to an opposition player.
I disagree. And do you know why? Because with a player like Pape Sarr, you say to him, always play the way you're facing. Don't turn on the ball, play the way you're facing, and then the players off the ball, you make sure that they give him 2 options every time. So if you can't go there, he goes there. Pep Guardiola, he makes sure there's 3 options when the player's on the ball. So when a player like you've just described exists, you're right. And that's why you always say to that player, only ever play the way you're facing. And if in doubt, send it long. So you can do it. It can be done.
Well, I don't think you've got the manager that does that. I'm just saying that Thomas Frank isn't that sort of manager, right? Neither was Mourinho. It's just a different style of manager.
I agree with, yeah. I agree.
But anyway, listen, just to, because I when I came in, I hadn't seen a thing. I heard that my ears were burning, apparently. And then I've seen in the chat, people go, oh, now Butler's here, he's going to get lively. What has been said in my absence, apparently? Because, I mean, the only thing I wanted to come on today was to say how right I was about Romero. 90% of you last week on Monday night, on Thursday night, said Romero was bang on to call the club out. I'd like to do another poll. I'd like to update the poll and see how people feel about Christian Romero today.
Do your poll. Do your poll.
Can we just get a quick 1s and 0s? You know, is Captain Romero still an absolute legend, or is he a bit of a donut? You know, now I'll put the poll out. But as far as the game went, I'm kind of with Lubo, but not as much as some people were. Like, I think that they had the opening sort of 6, 7, 8 minutes of the game. Then I think once we let them sort of get it off their chest a little bit, I think for the next 15, 20 minutes, we were, or maybe the next sort of maybe 12 minutes or whatever, I think we were kind of combative, and I think we were starting to create things. then I think they had the edge again for the next 5 minutes leading into Romero's, bozo moment. But I'd still say that on the edge, like if on the sort of balance of probabilities, if you had to give one team a little bit of the edge in that first half an hour, I'd still have given it to United. But then when Romero did what he did, game over. The goose was cooked then. There's no chance, in my opinion, that you're really going to have a fair fight against United at home, when their wind is in their sails anyway, isn't it, with the 3 wins on the backs. But I definitely thought that Tottenham were more than capable of getting something out of the game. And in my commentary, I was like, these guys are not that good. They're not that good. But then Romero does what Romero does. And, once again, lets everybody down.
It was a shame, actually, Sean, because I was really looking at the game shaping up to be a really good contest.
The sort of, after those 15 minutes we got dominated, the other 15 minutes we came back into the game really well. Maybe just for 2 or 3 minutes before Romero got sent off, it was a really open game and it was quite frenetic. I was kind of enjoying that part of the game, and then you just knew as soon as Cunha went near him, that's it. The red mist came down. He wants to kill the Brazilians, and that was it.
Yeah, what is it about that? What is it about that?
It's like he sees a Brazilian, it's like a red rag to a bull.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Copa America final, Brazil-Argentina?
Yeah, hate each other.
Yeah, but not every Argentinian does it. Like Lisandro Martinez doesn't do it to Brazilians, and Brazilians don't do it to other Argentinians. So it's just One thing I would say, I was watching it on, I was doing the commentary, but I had the American commentary, and I think it was Peter Drury. I think it was him. He has a problem with Tottenham Hotspur and a problem with Romero. Same like he used to have a major problem with Eric Lamela as well. Every time there's a Tottenham player that causes a little bit of mischief on the pitch, like the commentators always seem to lean. And he made it so easy for all of the kind of, I say non-biased, but they are biased, but all of the media, Thursday night, what day was it? Saturday night, Sunday, the media just absolutely hounded him. And I feel like the conversation has to now pivot. I don't know if you guys have had it yet, but whether Romero should be stripped of his captain. Have you had that conversation?
We haven't. I basically said, Sean, that I felt that if you're going to set yourself up as the resistance, then you can't go missing when the bullets go flying.
Hold on, Lubo. We kind of did, but not directly. We did have the conversation about
Romero, but not specifically.
We said it is Frank weak because in his post-match comments, he tried to protect Romero, got his facts wrong, got corrected by the reporter, and then I asked the question, is Frank too weak? Because a strong manager probably would strip him of his captaincy.
Someone at the football club needs to show some leadership.
Yeah.
Romero, everyone said it was Romero last week. Now it isn't, because that's a different type of leadership. Thomas Frank just wants to keep all these things. He's not the sort of personality to say something that's outrageous. He's very kind of just even keel. Obviously, Vinay isn't going to do it either. Someone at the football club needs to show some sort of leadership on this matter, in my opinion.
They all seem scared of him.
I don't think they've got the minerals to strip him of the captaincy.
Do you know what I think it is? If they're scared of Romero, it must be because a lot of the players like him, and they feel if they turn on Romero, they're going to lose. They do,
Stelios, because when he put the post up, the one that had a go, the disgraceful one, I'm not sure if that was actually what he meant to say, but anyway, that's another thing. It was liked by so many of the players and so many of the so-called leadership group as well. They all like that post, so I think he has massive sway in the dressing room, more sway than manager, more than, and also if you think back to that to the Europa League final. Who was the one who took the players right over into the end of the other team? It was Romero. He was leading all that through that. The players look up to him because he dragged them through that cup final. He's massive to a lot of the players. So I don't think Frank or the board have got the minerals to do anything about it, to be honest. Not at least till the summer.
It's a massive problem, though. It's a massive problem.
Sure,
you're letting the tail wag the dog in the football club. Let me
ask you. Let me ask a Aubameyang type situation that Arteta inherited.
Yeah, I saw Mike.
I think it's even bigger than that because I think he's actually even more of an influence on the dressing room probably than Aubameyang was.
Sean,
we don't have a lot of leaders.
Yeah,
we don't. I asked the guys earlier, if Pochettino came, would he sort this Romero thing out on the basis that they're both Argentinian, they were both defenders, and they both don't mind a bit of a nasty tackle? Do you think that would change things, or do you think Romero's Romero, no manager can rein him in?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Haven't thought about that. I mean, maybe he'll have a better chance at it. First of all, Pochettino's not going to be coming to Tottenham in a world where even if Thomas Frank does get sacked on the last day of the season, Pochettino won't be here until America are out of the cup.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to be round of 16 or something. So, you know, it's late in the summer already to be bringing Pochettino in. That's the thing. I think a lot of people are overlooking. I mean, I think that Pochettino will be the next manager of Tottenham Hotspur, but I do think we have to contemplate the timelines of reality here. Like, as soon as the World Cup's over, preseason training starts, and we won't have had any, unless you're speaking to him now, which doing that behind Thomas Frank's back, which isn't good either, saying what sort of players do you want? And so my point being, to get back to that question about Romero, I personally think Romero needs to be out of the club by, you know, as early in the window as possible. I think if that drags on, for me, he doesn't want to be here. He thinks he's better than the club. And as
the
a
World
captain,
Cup's going to be a massive block, isn't it, Sean? Do you know?
Yeah,
like
the World
Cup is a block for if Pochettino's a manager, if Romero or any of the people go to the World Cup are leaving, they're not going anywhere until the World Cup's done and potentially 2 weeks after, because they get their longer break.
Yeah.
So
that's mid-August, isn't it?
One thing I can see the club doing, it is going to be mid-August, yeah. One thing I see the club doing is, if they go for Poch, is bringing Mason or someone in to work with the players that are here, to follow their training regime, which we all know Poch works them like dogs in the summer, and Mason or someone like that who understands what the training's about. No, I'm just picking someone for example, but it'll be someone he knows and trusts who he can put in.
Well, is Jesus Perez in the Argentinian team as well?
You mean in the American, yeah.
Sorry, the American team, sorry.
Yeah. They're them and his son, the whole coaching staff. His son is now the fitness coach.
He's not going to send them.
Really? Another Nepo lad.
If
we can't do this anymore. Can we just have some meritocracy and not some bloodline favours? What are we doing here?
If they
We've
go
got diversity quotas to meet, Sean.
If the states go out in the group stages, then I think they're finished by the 26th of June. Yeah. And if they make the last 16, then I think it's the following week, isn't it? So, you know, you could have Poch will probably take maybe a week off. I don't know. Or would he come straight across?
Well, either way, though, for me, the Romero, it's a good point, actually. What Ferg says there. Like I was talking about from the fact that the manager won't be here until after the World Cup. Argentina are probably going to go all the way, or at least get to the semis or something. So he'll be one of the last people to return. You know what's going to happen, don't you? There's going to be another set of excuses coming up in September the 1st. Well, we tried. I mean, it's a difficult window with the World Cup. You know, it's the players not ready here, not there, faster, stronger, better. It's going to be one of those. It's like another kick in a can. January 27 is the window we're going to get it right, guys.
So you need to practice your Argentinian accent, mate.
I do. I'm going to be working on that.
The thing got to remember is we're not going to have European football next season. So the size of the squad you're going to need is going to be drastically smaller. So that's their built-in excuse. Well, we got a big squad. We've got all these players. We're bringing Vuskovic back. We're bringing this other guy back on loan. We don't need to add many. So it'll be a case of they get rid of a couple and bring a couple in, and that'll probably be it. It's a perfect excuse for them.
Yeah. Do you know what? If there's no Europe next year, that's going to destroy any notion of developing our youngsters, because they're not going to get the minutes.
Also growing our YouTube channels. You know, that's why I pivoted out into things like conspiracy content, because one game a week, nothing to talk about, no transfer.
Yeah, that's why he's come on. He's come on to promote his other channels.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rabbit Hole Ramblings. Hit the like and subscribe.
Yeah. Are you doing the whole royal family of lizards thing, or have you done that already?
Been doing that.
By the way, I got a random message from a friend of mine who I didn't even realise watches football YouTube, and he said to me, "Can you tell your mate Sean to put Rabbit Hole Ramblings on podcast?" I'm like, "You what? How are you, mate? Long time no hear." So there, yeah, someone's asked me to ask you to put it on the
Okay,
podcast.
no, he's on Spotify. I just don't update it as much. But
You
yeah,
you could have another one called Tin4 Top Hats.
No, listen. Next year, next season, real talk though is going to be brutal for YouTubers. You know, one game a week, and you know, transfer news, views, and clues going to be rubbish. I don't know what we're going to do. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be hard.
But you
work.
know, the thing is that then we might actually get a semi-decent league season for the first time in 3 years. So
that's even worse, though, Ferg, mate. It makes the views go up when Tottenham go down.
Yeah,
when Tottenham win, no one cares.
Well, this year could be pay dirt because I'm very worried about the end of this season.
Yeah,
Mate,
same.
I remember a month ago when this whole green shoots slogan began, right? The green shoots, and I said, guys, there's no green shoots unless we win games. And then Lubo was one of many who said, well, let's judge second half of the season if we finish strong. And I said, what are we doing? And then
who said the green shoots?
Now we're
Was
having
that
relegation
Lubo or
conversations. Now we're talking about relegation.
I think it was me that I didn't. Yeah, I think I probably used the phrase green shoots. I said, I'm not a fan of Thomas Franco. I never was on his side, never was against him. But because of the fact that I don't know where else you go mid-season, I said I feel like there's that reality, and the other realities. I said I'm starting to see some green shoots of decent football. Starting to see a little change in the tone. You know, maybe just the next step is to get a result, and then. You know, Manchester United stepped up, but I'm not having Stell sort of saying, "I told you, Sean. I told you."
I'm just saying, you not mentioned green
against
shoots.
against 11 men. I think Tottenham are coming away with that with something. Maybe not the win, but I think we would have got at least.
Sean, look at the form chart. Loss, draw, loss. Only Wolves and Crystal Palace have been as bad in the league. We are horrendous, man.
Still, last 20 games, we are 18th in the form.
Mate, green shoots.
Did you see the stat? Did you see the stat today? In the last 50 home games, Tottenham's worst home 50 form since 1913 or something. Absolutely.
Yeah, 13 50, yes, 1913, correct.
Jesus Christ.
I think we've lost something like it was 54% of games in that run.
Yeah. Yeah, what's Thomas Frank's on 1.18, isn't he, or something?
1.16.
He's the worst
1.16.
worst win rate manager in Premier League history.
He's
below Amorim, Hodgson, Potter, Postecoglou, Mark Hughes.
For top 16, Bill, for a top 6 team, isn't it?
But
top 6 club.
He is our worst Premier League manager for the win percentage, and if he loses or fails to win against Newcastle or Arsenal, he will officially beat Ozzy Ardiles' record of 1.15. They're like pretty much neck and neck at the moment. So he is going to take that crown. At least
Ozzy played some good football, right?
Yeah, he's going to take that crown of being the worst Spurs manager in the Premier League era. And
where's the context? Is there something? Because I know probably the person here who's defended Thomas Frank the most is Johnny. Did Johnny give any context to defend?
Well, he got a new nickname today. He's Judith Chalmers because he's always on holiday.
Yeah, Judith had to jump off.
Wish you were here.
More holidays than Madonna. Holiday, it'll be so nice.
Don't do that again.
That's all right. Sorry, it's my first talk show. I'll get the guitar out of it.
I think Johnny also pointed out about the amount of injuries that we've got, that Frank has had. Ange had his best team for the first 10 games, didn't he? I think it was pretty unchanged. I think for the first 10 games that Ange was here, and Frank's never had that. So, and I'm not supporting Frank. I want Poch back.
I saw someone in the chat saying, Ferg, earlier you were saying you think he'll go, right? If he loses,
I think if he loses tomorrow and he loses against Arsenal heavily, I think they'll have to sack him.
And what would you do if you were in charge? Who would you?
I think they'll probably just give it to Heitinga. When he was at Ajax, the first times interim, his record was really good. But Ajax are a basket case in the years since. But he had like a 63% win record the first time. And he's got a bit of gravitas. He was a good player. He played for Holland, played in the World Cup, played for Ajax, played for Atletico Madrid. It's not like he's a complete nobody. They'll probably do that. Him and Cochran, if Cochran will stay till the end of the season, and they pivot. But I mean, if he gets gallant defeats against Arsenal and a draw or a gallant defeat against Newcastle, they might well keep him. But if we get smashed by the scum, I think it's going to be so bad. I said it in the last times on the show. Yeah, I think he does.
I think if he doesn't win tomorrow night, I think even if he put in a gallant performance and we nick a 1-1 draw or something, I just think that Tottenham fans will. Well, they'll be singing anyway.
There's that sort of fatal inertia that's happening with our form, and it's us and Brighton. We're the two that are just tanking at the moment, and all the other teams are picking up the odd win. West Ham are getting on a run, so it's like we've got to get a victory.
West Ham they've had 3 wins in the last 5. Forest have had 2.
West Ham have got some stinkers of games coming up as well, though.
Yeah, they have.
They do. But you know what? I reckon they're going to put up a good fight, though.
Yeah. No, they definitely look. Since they brought in those couple of players, less so Adama Traore, but Tati and Garcia, is it? I forget the other one.
Castellanos
Tati Castellanos, and then whoever. I'm sure the one's Garcia. Pedro. That's it. Pedro, was it you said?
I think it's Pedro. Yeah.
Pedro. Yeah. Well, it feels like they've just refreshed things. They just at the top end of the pitch, they feel a little bit more, I don't know, reinvigorated, and they're playing with confidence. They're playing with confidence. So it is scary. Squeaky bum time for sure. Squeaky bum time.
Out of the two of them in a dogfight, I'd rather have Nuno as the manager personally. I think he.
Well, that's
he
the other
knows
thing. How many of Tottenham's current squad have ever faced a relegation battle, and how many of the players at Palace, Leeds, Brighton, West Ham? I'm sure a lot of them have got a little bit more experience with the.
Vicario, Kudus have.
Kudus
has. Kudus is injured. He's not going to be around for.
Yeah, but I'm saying at least he's in the squad. There's not a lot of them.
There's not a lot of them, is there?
No.
Can we?
I think Saul must have been in one when he was at Metz because they were awful.
Yeah,
guys, can we talk about the injury situation? Because we've got about 20 minutes to go, and I didn't want to discuss this because today we found out that Udogie hamstring. He's out for 4 to 5 weeks. I personally blame Ange Postecoglou for this hamstring injury. Frank doesn't know if Kulu will play for Spurs this season. Yet last month we were shown videos of Kulu training and almost coming back. So clearly, you can't believe anything that comes out of the media. No one knows what.
Kulusevski's finito, mate.
Yeah, I think
that guy is finished.
That is,
you know what?
He's had his whole knee rebuilt. That is not like there's not a lot of people who've had to have that and come back to.
I lost half my kneecap in a rugby injury when I was a teenager. I never played rugby seriously again afterwards, and I played to a very at that point in my life at a decent standard, right? And I never felt confident again with my knee ever. And he had a lot worse than whatever I had. So
and that Instagram post he put was showing the state of his knee and what they were doing to it. So I mean, like.
Guys,
even if he comes back, is he going to be even half the player? No. I doubt it.
Ferg, I've got a question specifically on this, okay? So this Udogie injury is a big blow to us because almost all our fullbacks are out. And now we're bringing in this young kid and hoping he can somehow perform miracles. But earlier on in the season, I remember saying that at the end of this season, once Maddison's fit, I would sell him because it's pointless having a player at the club that just doesn't ever play more than half a season. Do you think that these Kulus and Udogie, all these injury-stricken players, do you think we just need to sell them? Even though, I like Udogie, I think we're better with him. When I think he plays for us, I think we're a better side. But do you think that players like Udogie we need to sell simply because we never ever can build a team when they're never available for more than 3 months a year?
Destiny's so young. He's so young. I think we could give him a bit longer. But you're like your Richarlisons, your Maddisons, your Kulu, if it's as bad as it could be. Bentancur, we got to seriously think about moving some of these guys on.
Udogie's been at the club since Conte.
He's only 22, so
but he's injured all the time though.
But he's part of the reason he's injured all the time is because we play him too much, and
he's the new
don't
Reece
give him
James, mate.
enough. Yeah, we
When
don't
Doggy
give
first
him
rocked
time.
up at Tottenham, I said that this guy's gonna his frame. He's built like a cruiserweight boxer. He's gonna if he's gonna have to do sprints, what he's ended up having to do. Obviously, different injuries, right? Reece James had just chronic hamstring stuff. This guy's got chronic quad muscle injuries or whatever. But I'm with Stell. Like, as much as I rate him when he's on, I just think that what I was saying this in a text message earlier. Everyone, I'm not defending the argument, but if Tottenham went out in the summer and had the perfect window, right, and we dropped 500 million quid on 7 or 8 80 million pound players, you can still only have 24, 25 men in your squad. And then if January these days is like basically a write-off of a window because of the UEFA restructuring of the Champions League things and the Europa League, then you have to get most of your business done in January in the summer. And even if Tottenham had built a brilliant squad, you still only have 25 players. If you have 13 injuries at the same time, you're still screwed, regardless of who you have. So part of our talent ID, I think, has to be, I don't know whether it's just like better ability to look into the medical department of the players' histories or whatever. But like we need to buy more players like Pedro Porro in terms of fitness, not like a player, but in terms of his. I don't know if you'll know before you'll know, but certainly if you point towards 26-year-olds, 27-year-olds, you've got a far bigger sample size than you have buying 18 and 19-year-olds about the physical wherewithal of these players. Players like Conor Gallagher don't get injured, right? Players like Pedro Porro haven't gotten injured. Destiny Udogie you're basically, he's available for 2 weeks, out for 6. Available for 2, out for 6. You're basically like hamstringing yourself by having players that are just chronically injury prone. And so for me, I'm with Stell. I think that you probably do need to move players like him on because
The club's got serious form though, right? They bought Ryan Sessegnon when they knew he'd had a terrible injury to his hamstring, and they've done it over and over again where they've gone out and they've found his players. And when you do a deep dive on their injury history, it's really poor.
But then he pisses off back to Fulham and he never gets injured again.
That's right.
Yeah, but he was
Madison
never
had 5
going
years
to be the
of bad
player he looked
injury at
like
Leicester.
with the injury that he had. You know what I mean?
Years.
Yeah, Madison's chronic as well, always out.
Yeah,
Sessegnon had 2 big operations in a short space of time to sort out hamstrings in both legs. I'm also hearing that Sousa's
injury
prone.
Yeah, Sousa's only managed to play 27 first-team games in his 3 years of his career. This season was the 3rd season. So yeah, you know there's going to be an issue with him. You know there's going to be an issue with him. He's not built the same way. He's more of a lighter frame.
But he seems to be explosive with a pace. So
yeah, but if you're buying players that are expected to do a lot of running in the Premier League where it's physical anyway, and you're buying them and asking them to do all that running, but you're buying them knowing that they've got injury concerns in the past. I mean, let's be honest, I don't want to tempt fate here, right? But I'm amazed that Mickey van der Ven so far this season has managed to avoid any serious injuries.
But we're a curse anyway, because Solanke had never been injured. Like, he missed so little football, and he comes to us and he's out for 6 months. So it's like...
Radu Dragusin, he wasn't injured before he got to Tottenham.
But he had an ACL, so that's slightly different. That can happen to anyone at any point. But I just think there's something very wrong with our medical team.
Do you know what? Ferg, listen to this, right? On Saturday night, I met with a coach of a friend of mine from years ago. Like he's a brilliant coach. I wish I was at 11 years. He's just excellent. And he's a Spurs fan, and we were talking about the injury crisis. And his take on it is that he thinks that, number one, we play players far too much, and we just simply don't rotate them enough, and we run them into the ground. We bring players back too soon because we're desperate for bodies, rather than letting them complete their proper rehabilitation. And he also said regarding Frank that Frank should have rotated players more and given some of the youth a chance, but he's too scared to do it. So therefore, he's taken the risk on the current crop of players and none of the youth. When I say youth, I mean academy. And therefore, that's backfired because now you've got this backlog of injuries. Andrew was similar, by the way, although Andrew did give the youngsters a much more of a chance in the early stage of the Europa. But then I guess you're not really going to do it in the Champions League. So do you think that players are being rushed back? Do you think players aren't getting proper rotation? Because you know what? I look at Arsenal this year and I have to say, they haven't had crazy injury crisis. They've had injuries, but when you look at their squad and what they're able to rotate, I'm not surprised. They've got such a vast squad to rotate that they don't need to risk going to the youth because they've got seasoned pros, whereas us, we have to go to the youth, and our managers just aren't prepared to do it. But then they pay the price of losing half the squad as the season goes on. That was his take on it.
Frank had a similar injury crisis the season before last at Brentford, and they finished 16th. They had loads of injuries.
Yeah, but Ange had it as well, though. And
yeah,
so Ange
but I'm
had it
talking
as
about
well.
at Brentford. So it's not like he came to us, and Ange had it at Celtic too. It's not like they both came to us with like impeccable records for players not getting injured.
Guess who we
I
just
see what you're
signed?
saying.
Guess who we just signed from Brentford?
Yeah, their rehabilitation guy. Yeah, it's mad.
Honest to God, it's like Vinay's grand plan is just to go. We've got one of those teams that seem to do really well and build things consistently. There's Bournemouth, there's Brighton, and there's Brentford. You know what? Let's go for Brentford. Let's go and get every single part of their success story, apart from the actual thing that's their success story, which is their data guy. Leave him behind, bring the rest of them over, and then we'll just become Brentford. Brentford Hotspur. That's all we're becoming right now, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. Terrible. He's got far too much influence, Frank, in terms of staff coming across. Far too much.
Yeah. Do you think any of that is selfish on his part? That he's layering the people in, so it becomes
absolutely.
more and more expensive for Thomas for Vinay to sack him all.
Correct, 100%.
I definitely think he just wanted as many voices there who were going to back him as possible, and it's. I mean, there's even talk they're looking to bring in their director of football as and have the dual role thing going on.
Yeah, Phil
That's
Giles.
just bonkers. Like, I'm
Vinay's
sorry.
basically like Keir Starmer, isn't he?
Yeah. Or maybe more like Nigel Farage, just taking all of the good bits out of or maybe the good bits or whatever, some of the parts of the Conservatives, the Conservatives failed after 14 years. Well, we're an up-and-coming party. Let's just take you, and you, outrageous.
We are quite a political club, aren't we, the way we operate? Mates, best friends, cousins.
Nepotism, yeah.
Not
dodgy contracts that get investigated, but no truth comes out about it.
The thing they got to be so careful about is the situation is if we do go down, which hopefully we won't. They got contracts that people can walk away from. God knows what's in the players' contracts. Sponsors. AIA's only got a year left. Who are they going to get as the new sponsor? Do any of the other sponsors walk? No one's going to want to. The value for the owners is going to tank.
Yeah. That's why Vivian's son-in-law's got involved, I think, because they're looking at it and they're looking at the slide down the table, and they're looking at the one opportunity that you had in January to strengthen the squad, and it wasn't done.
Lubo, do you know what? I've got a theory on this. I don't think they strengthened the squad because I don't believe they've fully, as a collective, believe that Frank is their guy, and they don't want to chuck a whole load of money at a guy that's not going to be here in 6 months, and therefore take away spending power for the next guy.
But what about?
Or there was never that money in the first place, and it's the usual smoke and mirrors.
Well, that wouldn't be a surprise, would it, if there wasn't any money? But for me, if you're watching the core of your business, going down, you got to do something to stop it. You can't just say, well, okay, he'll be gone. If he's no good, we'll get rid of him. Maybe we'll have Poch back in the summer. How about the here and now? How about addressing the problems now? Because if we do carry on, I personally think we'll stay up. But if we do carry on with this run, and we lose these two, we go to Fulham, we lose that. We get something against Palace, we go to Anfield and get smashed. You lose 4 out the next 5, we're in serious shit. So
a lot of shit now. We've got no Romero for the next 4 games. By the way, I did put the poll out just to see how flip-floppery our fan base is, because last Thursday it was 88%. Romero was right. He's a legend. I put out, is Romero a bozo? And we're currently on 83%. Yes, he is. So the fans, it doesn't take much for the wind to change direction in our fan base, does it? You know.
Listen,
we desperately need a win, and that's all there is to it. We've got to win tomorrow, just to put that to bed. But I'm not confident we are going to win at all.
Let me tell you something, right? All the fans suddenly flipping 180 against Romero. Let me say this, because this is my observation this season. At the start of the year, the fan base went after Basuma. Oh, he's on balloons. Oh, he's disrespected the club. Get him out. When we got bored of that, everyone went after Porro. Porro, he's gone to shit. His defending's crap. He can't cross. When fans got bored of Porro, Vicario got it in the neck. He got it for a good couple of months. Then Vicario was dropped. Kinski came in. Kinski dropped to plan with Newcastle. Kinski got pounded. Then we got back onto Vicario's case. Once we were really done with Vicario, we went after Richie. We can't go after him because he's injured. Now Cootie's the flavour of the month. Let's blam Cootie. Well, guess what? We've had a nice go on Cootie. He's going to be out for 4 weeks. Who's the next player we're going to go after, guys? Because I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. We'll find one and we'll battle him. And I tell you what, if Dragusin has a stinker, he's going to get pummeled for the next
of course,
week.
yeah. You know why? It's because your ex-chairman is no longer here to take all of the flack.
Vinay's still here. Lange is still here.
Yeah, but they haven't. They're not. They're like. Listen, if Daniel Levy was still
Archie
here,
Gray. Archie Gray's. We summoned Archie Gray. I
think it might be Xavi Simons. If Xavi Simons puts in an 8 out of 10 performance, but it's 0-0 in the 88th minute, and he skies one over the top, I think people will be out after Xavi Simons again, despite the fact that he's become one of our best players, I think, in the last month or so.
It's mental, man. It's the way we are hounding players this season. I've never seen it like this. I've never seen players hounded like this.
We need Poch, I'm telling you. He will come in. Whatever he does, he does.
I think it's going to change, Lubo, with him.
No.
It's going to be another giant failure. Come on, it's going to be another giant failure, but everyone's got to scratch that itch. You know, go back for one last shag. That's all it is for the bird. You know,
It'll bring the club back to, you know.
Who would you bring in there?
He will.
No, listen, I've said it before. I think that Pochettino does need to come back to the football club, but I'm not saying...
Forget this itch, right? Take the itch away, right? Let's say the itch has come and gone. Who would you bring in?
Who would I like to see manage Tottenham? De Zerbi.
He's a nutter, that guy.
You just love chaos, man.
I think De Zerbi plays amazing football. I think he invigorates the. I think he's the sort of manager that if he's on your side, if he's your manager, you're going to absolutely love him. Sort of like Bruno Fernandes. People hate him who play against him, but the Man United fans.
He's another Conte up there. He's another Conte.
Yeah, he is. He's an absolute nutcase. Yeah. And listen, still, if you get De Zerbi, mate, you will love him, mate, because it will be about 2 weeks before he calls out the board. Sean, he's right. He's right.
Sean, I would love a De Zerbi type person, but the fan base is going to go into meltdown as soon as he opens his mouth. They're going to lose the plot.
I know. Yeah.
He's a good manager, but he's definitely mental. So it's like he pours gasoline. He does the Conte thing. He pours gasoline on fire all the time.
Content requires content.
Exactly. You need some catalyst for good content, and he is a content catalyst. That man, for sure.
It won't be boring press conferences like Thomas.
No, exactly. I honestly don't. I don't know. And in terms of like what does Tottenham need as a manager right now? I honestly don't. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm not sure what. I think it doesn't matter until you have. I don't think it matters if the owners put in 500 million quid and go, there you go and spend it. If you have people in the talent ID room whose profiling is horrendous, or who spend all summer trying to go after players that are never going to join, then I think that you end up with the same situation. I think that for me, the biggest priorities to resolve at Tottenham Hotspur are the medical team. As I said earlier, it doesn't matter if you could have £1 billion squad, but if 15 of them are injured at any one point in time, I think that you're always going to be in a nightmare situation. I think the medical thing has to be resolved. I've got no idea how you do that because I don't think it's clear what the problem is. And then I think also the recruitment team needs to be shrunk down. I think there needs to be one head, one guy who's got a vision, a plan, and he has relative trust. And I think he needs to be in the same on sync, like co-sympathetic or whatever the phrase is, with the manager. I think that would either require a double act of like a Paul Mitchell and a Poch, or a Nagelsmann and a Ralph Rangnick. Two people that come in at the same time, that have a plan and that have the respect of the board and the players, and that they can sit there and kind of go, okay, look, you've got to do this and I've got to do that, but let's not butt heads. Let's try and figure out the right solution here. And I don't think that's not been the case at Tottenham for a while. So I'm not sure who those people are, but that's what I think. I think you need to fix the medical team, and I think you need to have an alignment within the recruitment team. And Rob McKenzie's got to go. He's got to go. That guy. Like, what does he do? What does he?
This sounds like a Lubo manifesto. Step 1: fix medical team.
Oh, you asked me. I'm not a man about
communication.
manifesto. I'm more of a mandate guy. I'm talking about a mandate rather than a manifesto. For me, the mandate has to be given.
Lubo manifesto.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who the people are, but that's what I would do.
By the way,
what about you?
can I just answer? Sorry.
Yeah, go on. Go on, Lubo, you go first.
Just want to answer one comment about Poch, the sort of footballer mindset that would join Chelsea instead of Spurs when we needed him. Poch was waiting for Spurs, and I was told Cullen told Levy, no way, it didn't work out with him last time. Poch was there, ready to come back to Spurs instead of Chelsea. And when Spurs didn't come calling, what's he meant to do? So, Levy and Cullen.
Ozzy Ardiles did a live one of those road shows where you paid to go and a night with Ozzy, and he was asked a question, and he said Poch was waiting for the phone call, but he never got the call. He actually confirmed that. So
I wonder why he never got the call. I'd love to know why Daniel Levy.
I don't think Levy and Cullen could publicly admit that they fucked up sacking him.
So okay. Yeah,
I think it was too soon as well. I think they thought they needed to leave it longer.
Do you know what? He took us further than any manager has in a top competition, and 5 months later they got rid of him.
Yeah, but I still maintain that he was twerking for bigger, better things in the Champions League final preview, in the pre-match press conference. He's like, "What do I do after this?" You know,
they've taken the guts out of him, Sean. They just take the guts.
Maybe.
Here's the question though: like, who could we get if we finish where we likely to finish? Let's say we stay in the Premier League. Who can we get that is a better manager than him?
Well,
like with the current state of play.
For me, he's at the World Cup, and he'll probably go a long way with Germany as Nagelsmann.
But will he take? I don't know if he'd take the job, to be honest.
Ferg, do you know what? Let me explain my logic here. I never wanted Ange sacked on the simple basis that once you've got that winning team and you've got that bond and you've got that connection, don't break it. Just let it ride, because once you break it, it opens up a can of worms. And that's what I kind of think has happened, not totally, but partly this season. So when it comes to Poch, I don't want him because I want a winner. I love a winner. That's why I loved Mourinho and Conte at the club, because they win, right? And Ange won. But
you take Glasner then?
Well, no, I'd love Glasner. I wanted Glasner. If once Ange was gone, I said I'd take Glasner. But where I'm at now, I no longer think we simply just need a winner. I think we need a glue that unifies, that brings back everyone. And I think the only person that does that is Poch. I think he's the only one that will bring people back together and just make people feel like maybe something might actually happen this time. Now, whether it does or not, I can't say. It could be a disaster. It could actually be the second coming. But I just feel what we need now as a club is whatever manager comes in next, even if it's Glasner or Klopp or whoever, you just know something's going to fucking go wrong, right? At least with Poch, his heart's in it. When he did the video today, this video came out.
Great video to watch. That was great video.
And in the video, they said, which was your favourite club? He said, "That's a stupid question. It's always Tottenham." And the way he spoke about the club, he knew it. He got it. He understood it. The fans, and I just feel, with everything that's happened the last 6 years, we just need that. We just need something like that.
And do you know the other thing, right? You know, people always say, "Oh, you never go back to your ex." Well, I feel like in this scenario, your ex has gone on and got a couple of promotions at work, right? She's made a bit of money. Okay, she's got a little bit of filler. You, on the other hand, you've been unemployed for the last couple of years. You put on about 3 stone in weight. Your hair's falling out. You've never looked like you're in worse shape than you currently are. And she still loves you. Even if there were problems in the past, you're not in the position to be like beggars can't be choosers. You forget about all of the issues and you go back to her because she's in a much better position to carry you forward and hopefully you can get yourself back in shape as a consequence of going back with her. I think that he is the only guy still that will unite the fan base. It also is a last Hail Mary for the ownership. If they give the fans him, then I think the fans will put to one side any resentment for another window.
The other way of looking at it.
By the way, sorry, Luke, Ferg needs to go. Let's just wish him good night. Ferg, thank you for coming.
Cheers, everyone. Thanks for having me on.
See you, mate.
Really enjoyed it again.
Check
Cheers,
out
thank you.
Ferg at his Twitter account at Tottenham Touchline.
Senor Fergie.
Yeah, Senor Fergie's my main one, but yeah. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Oh, sorry.
I'll see you later. It's all right. Cheers.
You,
thanks,
mate.
guys. Bye. Bye.
Cheers, Joe. Thanks, mate. What I will say about what you're saying about Poch coming back, the guy that was best man at my wedding split up from his wife, got back with her, still with her, happily married 40 years later. It does work. It can work. Poch can come back, hopefully, and can. But I honestly think that we probably need new owners or these owners to do a complete 180 and just start treating the club like Fenway treat Liverpool, like Kroenke treats Arsenal, etc., etc. That's what we need.
Would you take Arnie Slot if he's sacked from Liverpool?
Not in front of Poch. Not in front of Poch.
You'd be able to bring him in on the 1st of June rather than the 1st of August.
Well, Poch could be with us 1st of July. Sean.
Do you know what, Sean? I actually, truly, honestly believe everything I've said the last 6 months about winners. I actually now think the state of this club, the misery of it, the toxicity, everything about this club now, it needs Poch. It's calling for Poch. I just think it's aligned, man. Sometimes you can't back up what you say, but your gut, you just got to listen to it. My gut says bring him back.
Yeah. Listen, like I say, I genuinely think that it would. It would. I'm not sure it would work though. I don't think it would work. Like I say, for me, the bigger problems at the football club are revolve around talent ID. It doesn't matter how much money you give the guys if they can't spend it correctly or they can't spend it at all. That's a problem. And like I say, I genuinely mean this as well. I think I've got no idea how to solve the injury crisis, but there is a massive ongoing problem at Tottenham Hotspur. I think you have to identify profiles of players that just are a little bit older that have got very little injury history. I think that should be a prioritization in the profiling. But I also, like I say, I spoke to that guy, Gary, came on the channel that can't be named. And we went through it with him, and he's close to that story, and he said it's not the people that we've had have gone on to be at better places than we are in world sport. And the people that we brought in have come from better places generally than we were. It's not the technology. We've got all of the best in class equipment. I said, is it the pitch? Is there anything to do with the pitch? He said, well, there's a synthetic weave in the training ground that matches what there is on the pitch, but that's not that uncommon across football anyway. So where's the variable then? Where is the variable? Obviously, things spiral out of control. Like if you have fewer and fewer players available, you have to play the players you have more and more, and so then it can spiral downwards with injuries. But it just loads of players come to us, get injured, then leave, and then never get injured. Harry Kane hasn't got injured once at Bayern Munich. Ryan Sessegnon spent 4 years out of 5 on the injury table at Tottenham. He goes to Fulham. He's absolutely fine. Players that have come to us with no injury history suddenly get injured and out for months and months and months. You do start to question whether there is a curse, like whether someone has put a voodoo or a hex or whatever on the football club, because there's no discernible reason as to why it's so bad all the time. But it is that bad all the time. And if you don't resolve that, then it doesn't matter how many great players you have. If they're all injured all the time, you're screwed, right?
Do you think, Sean, it's this season there have been more injuries in match day situations rather than training? There have been 1 or 2 with training, but mainly during matches.
Okay, but again, so you can't. But it's still even if they were all in match day, then you still go, well, why? Like, why doesn't that happen everywhere else? We've had more. Like, we are so far ahead in the injury table.
We are
so far ahead. It's weird.
Do you think a lot of that is down? All clubs get injuries. I don't see that. Unless we're just really unlucky.
Do you know what? We're the only club that plays on a pitch that sits on an AstroTurf.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what I said to that guy. I said, "Is there any chance that that's the case?" Because you hear the NFL players. The NFL players always talk. They call the London pitch zippy, because it's like they feel like they get an extra like spring out of it or whatever. They can actually run faster on it. But they also complained about injuries. They complained about feeling sore in their ankles disproportionately more when they play at Tottenham than they do, the Ireland international game, which is played on the rugby pitch, for example, or Wembley when it was played at Wembley. Yeah. So maybe the fact that the pitch has only got like a foot of actual turf before it gets into the metal mechanics of the retractable pitch. I don't know, but it's weird.
Sean, could the amount moving away from the day of the injury in terms of rehab, is our rehab not as good as other clubs? And,
I asked him. I said,
"Our rehab is state of the art. Our rehab."
But he said that every manager that comes to Tottenham brings with them their own prehab specialist.
Yeah. Which
then will, like, some of them do free weights as their prehab. Some of them do the cable things. Some of them do resistance work. And he said Ange was the only guy that didn't come with anyone at all, up by himself day one. But the rest of them all come with their own guy. And I was like, well, maybe that's a variable then, right? Like if you've got 18 months of this guy's version of how you warm up and warm down, and then you move to the next manager and Thomas Frank's guy is like doing something different. I'm sure you're training the same muscles, but the fact that you're using different styles of how to train them, maybe that's it. But then again, I don't know if that's the same elsewhere. I would imagine that's if every manager goes to every new club with their own prehab guy, then I'm sure they all change managers a lot, and they will therefore change their prehab guy.
It's interesting. With Van der Ven, they sent him to the States to learn how to run, sprint, and stop in a different way. And since then, thankfully, I don't want to bock it, but thankfully, his injury records is much better this season than it's been the previous 2 years. Much better.
With the amount of technology, science, data, and the level of medicine, guys. My dad had an operation in the brain. They entered through the leg, up through the body, and they had a little camera on a fine wire, and they performed a 5-hour brain op, right? What they can do in medicine is insane, right? It's insane. Which says to me, if they can't identify what's happening at Spurs, then there is something very unique that no one's come across yet that is happening at our club that they just haven't found the answer to. Because there's enough smart people on the planet, and we've got the money to invest in that.
Yeah, but what happens if the actual answer is the retractable pitch, and then no one at Tottenham's going to admit that because it's £1 billion stadium?
Well, okay. Number one, have they investigated that? And number two,
would we even know?
Okay, then what is the cost of not admitting that when the team's in free fall and they're paying millions of pounds in salaries to players that never play?
No, I hear you. I'm just saying though, but like it's a bit of a problem, isn't it? You can't exactly rip up the pitch and get rid of the retractable pitch, give up the NFL thing. Like I'm not suggesting for a second that is the case, but I'm just saying if there's no real other reason, no other logic, maybe someone there has gone, listen, pretty sure the variable here that makes us outstandingly worse in injuries is because of the retractable pitch being you only have whatever it is 6 inches of turf. I think that's the problem. And they go, well, we can't fucking let that. We can't talk about that. You know, we can't acknowledge that because then, like, we're stuck with a fucking, you know, what's the word? A white elephant.
If that's the case, then this isn't going to go away. This problem's here for the rest of the years we're in this stadium. But I personally think,
or you just figure out a way to adapt to that. You go, we need to figure out training methods that incorporate.
Can't adapt to it if you're playing on it. I listen. I think nobody has cracked it. There's something unique that's happening at the club. It's like it's like a plane accident when something happens that's never been seen before, and they've got to understand what's happened with this accident that's completely different to the other 10 million we've investigated, and then they find that the drilling of a hole was a millimeter out, and that caused a fracture. And okay, there's something at Spurs that no one's identified, and I think there's more than enough technology and smart people out there to solve it for us to not have solved it already. It's something unique. It's something no one's seen before. I'm convinced, guys. And people saying, by the way, people in the chat saying the medical team aren't qualified. The people that leave Tottenham, the medical people, go on to outstanding careers in medicine and in other institutions. We don't hire jokers. We hire good people. We do hire good people. There's just
this is the man who Gary Spurs 1961. That's the guy who works in and around with his various consulting jobs. He's saying the problem is consistency of the training culture. That's what you think. That's what he says the issue is.
Okay.
So has no one at Spurs identified that then? Because like if Gary's identified it, then
no, I think he's speaking from a place of like that's the feedback that he's hearing from people that's their answer, obviously, and they're trying to figure it out.
So if that's the case, then that should be we should be able to fix it then. But from as fans, it's not being fixed because the injuries are getting worse.
So would the solution be then to say to your next manager, he says, "Oh, I want to bring my assistant manager, I want to bring my 2 coaches, and I want to bring the prehab guy." You say, "Sorry, we don't need your prehab guy. We've got a chief of medicine, a chief of physio, whatever, and we have to keep consistency because we have all these injury problems. And you coming in and doing it your way is going to reverse everything that the other guys did."
You have to
do something like that, right? I think so. Yeah.
You must, yeah. Every club's got some non-negotiables.
It's a massive issue because if we don't solve, it doesn't matter how much money you spend, unless you buy robots that are just impervious to pain, impervious to issues. And to be fair, Pedro Porro has been incredibly fortunate to have played basically every game in 4 years now. He's been at the club.
He's like a freak of nature, isn't he, Porro?
Freak of nature. But he spends so much. Have you ever seen videos of him at home? He's got his own gym in the basement of his thing, and he just spends all day long just throwing medicine balls and catching it. I don't know if every player treats their home routine quite as seriously as players like he does. You know.
Yeah, players like Ibrahimovic have a very rigid, disciplined regime. That's why he's so fit at his age. We've got some super chats we've got to do before we wrap it up, and then we've got to get the score predictions as well.
Before you do the super chats, just quickly, did anyone get the score bang on last week?
Let's have a look quickly. So Johnny predicted 2-1 Man United. Lubo predicted 3-2 to Tottenham.
I went 3-2 Spurs.
Sean said 2-2. I said 3-1. So me and Johnny get 1 point. You two both get 0. No one got it correct.
So what does that mean for the standings?
Does
it still mean?
It means you're 5 points ahead of Lubo, 6 points ahead of me, and you are 10 points ahead of Johnny.
Nice. You're running out of games, Lubo. You're running out of games still. Come on now.
2 games. That's all it takes, Sean. 2 games. 2 matches.
Artisans, he says, will avoid relegation, but low position on the ladder. Thank you for your super chat, mate. I hope you're right, as long as we don't get relegated. A user again, as always, thank you. Not attracting top players or just shite scouting. Probably a bit of both. Dean S85, thank you for your super chat. Frank will go if we lose tomorrow. The place will be toxic. The board will realise the situation we're in, and there's 12 days before our next game. What do you guys think of this? I've been hearing this all season, guys. I just think Frank's
it's a good point. No, it's a good point. 12 days is quite a long time to be able to figure something out. But I still think he's here for the. They've just signed another one of his cronies, so I think he's here. Nice.
Lubo, if we lose tomorrow, it goes toxic. Is Frank getting sacked?
No. Lang will support Frank in front of Vinay all day long, unless Vinay wants to pull, unless he wants to pull rank, which I can't see him doing. And I can't, is there anybody above Vinay that knows what they're doing? football
Well,
wise.
who's the Nick? Who's the Nick property man? Doesn't he tell Vinod what to do now?
It's I don't know. I don't know. Would Nick Bush actually take the take the lead and just say, right, enough's enough. This is going south at the rate of knots. We've got to stop this. So sorry, guys. I've got to break up this little cartel, and let's see. If we win and West Ham lose, we're 9 points clear of the bottom three. The whole thing calms down again, doesn't it?
Yeah. If we get 9 point gap,
It all calms down.
A user again. Our stadium is built on some ancient burial ground. The stadium's built on the same one as the old one, though. A user. Della Spurs, big up. Thank you for your super chat. In terms of big summer, if we have to fire and pay out Frank, pay out his staff, hire Poch, pay his staff, and rebuild the squad, it could be 250 to 300 million for a total of almost 400 million in one summer. Does that sound about right, guys?
No, I think the Frank situation has clauses in. I'm sure they don't. Frank's on 8 million a year, but I'm sure there are performance clauses put into the contract. I don't think.
Yeah, but I think the rebuilding of the squad could be.
Rebuilding the squad, definitely. The payout to Frank and his crew.
200 million on players.
20 million on Frank.
30 million, whatever, on the hiring and firing. But it depends. 200 million, maybe more if you sell Romero, if you sell, some of these players, right?
Yeah.
What would be lovely is if you could get James Maddison back for one game. I don't even know if we should keep him or not. But if the idea is that you can't rely on these players, they're taking up squad spots and then they're just never available. It'd be good if you could get like James Maddison back for like 2 games before the end of the season, just so you could sell a fully fit player.
We will find out. Della Spurs, Tom Club, thank you for your super chat. He says, not sure if it was covered, if Xavi Simons is the next player to get injured, how scared are you of relegation?
Nah, I'm not scared at all with my Heisenberg to step in the 10. This guy's just waiting to unleash. He's waiting. My Odo. I'm terrified of relegation, to be honest.
I think relegation is real, whether Xavi's injured or not, personally speaking.
I'm not there yet. We're teetering on the brink. We're not there yet.
You're always late to the party, you are. You'll get there.
Still, we're in relegation form, that's for sure.
Still, if Lubo goes early, he changes his mind like just a little bit, a couple of weeks later. And if he waits, he gets it wrong anyway.
If we lose the next 2, then obviously I can be clever in hindsight. If we lose the next 2 and West Ham win the next 2, then we are banging it. But I think we'll just see. I think we'll just steer clear of it.
I can't believe now every game Spurs play, I'm going to be looking at the West Ham score. This is ridiculous.
Man, isn't it?
Absolutely ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Sitting there looking at Sky Sports results, West Ham.
We're wishing Chelsea beat Leeds tomorrow. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
The other day, I had the option of watching 5 different Premier League matches, and I watched West Ham versus Burnley. Well, what are we doing here?
We're going to have to start doing hate-alongs for every West Ham game. Dropkick teacher, respectfully, Sean, you and the others will be crying when we drop to 18th. Romero is the reason we aren't 4 points off the drop zone. Now we get man bun. Sean?
Romero's the reason we're not 4 points off the drop zone. Why? Because for every goal that he's scored, he's been instrumental in about 3 times more with his poor defensive positioning. He's also missing for the next 4 games. So if we do drop to 18th, it's not because of my take on Romero, it's because of Romero's activity, his actions on the pitch. Mm-hmm. So, respectfully drop kick your teacher. Big up for the super chat, but I'm not sure it's my fault if Romero's not playing.
There you go. All right, that leaves us with the predictions for the game tomorrow. Johnny's already gone. He's predicted, I believe it was 2-2. Yeah, Johnny's gone 2-2. Lubo?
One apiece.
You're going 1-1.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sean.
Listen, I was going to go 1-1 as well. It's on my hand, right? But no, fuck it, I'm sticking to my guns. I don't care. I don't care about this. And then you're going to go, Lubo. Butler's just copying Lubo to me. I'm not. I'm going for 1-1. What are you going for still?
See? Anything to stay 5 points clear of me. He's worried. Very, very worried. There you go. Listen.
This is really annoying because I need the points, but I was thinking 1-1 before as well. So I'm going to end up with nothing if I'm going 1-1 because I believe it's going to be 1-1. This is nonsense.
Do you know what?
It's absolute nonsense.
What's the word? I can't think of the exact term, but copying is the biggest form of flattery. So thank you very much, mate.
Yeah. Imitation is the serious form of flattery.
That's the word.
When I was doing my dissertation at university, right, my lecturer told me if you copy someone's work, it's plagiarism. Correct. If you copy lots of people's work, it's research.
Yeah. So still going last is just research once he's found out.
Yeah, I'm researching. That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. There, the predictions in. We will see what happens tomorrow.
So, what have you gone?
We've all gone for 1-1.
Have we?
1-1.
So.
All four of us have predicted a draw. See, Johnny's laughing because he's the one that could get. Well, actually, no. Johnny could get even further behind all of us if we're right.
Johnny's done. He's done. He's going down with the Wolves. He is. He's done.
Yeah, Johnny is. Yeah, he's in trouble, isn't he?
I think the 2-2 might not be a bad shout.
No,
none of us think we can get a home win.
No.
You know.
Who's going to score?
You know what's even worse? What's even worse, right? Is that the stat this season is if Tottenham concede first, we never win a game. So Newcastle United are going to be said tomorrow night. Just go out strong, guys. Go out strong. Eddie Howe's going to go, boys. Go out strong. Get the first goal inside 15 minutes, and you know, at the very worst, you're walking away with a point.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Do you know what? Still.
Yeah.
Stop it. 2-1 Tottenham.
Are you sure you want to do that?
2-1 Tottenham. Go on.
It's the last chance. Are you sure you want to do that?
Do that as well. So now.
2-1 Tottenham. 2-1 Spurs. There you go.
He's thrown away the chance. He's thrown it away.
Lubo, if it finishes 1-1, I swear to God, man, I'm playing this video 5 times on Thursday.
You can. It's okay. Listen, at the end of the day, you've got to take a risk. You've got to go for it. I want to.
Yeah, but do you believe in what you're saying?
No.
Are you just chasing Sean, or do you believe in what you're saying?
I want to see Sean's face when he's second. I don't care. Yeah, I will be more than happy to do it in the last game of the season against Everton. Just nip in.
Lubo, I never told you guys, right? Is ever since the age of 17 years old, I have played a predictions league with 12 of my friends every single season for the last 25 years, and I've won the entire competition 8 times. So I'm pretty good at figuring out how to get to the end zone, mate. It's what I do. Clip that, because if I get caught, it's going to be absolutely annoying. I'm going to be humiliated.
Yeah. Mr. Prediction, Sean. Off screen, obviously. What are the 6 numbers for the lottery on Saturday?
I'll tell you afterwards, mate. I'll tell you afterwards.
There you have it. A Starmer U-turn from Lubo at the end. He's gone for 2-1.
No wonder his U-turn's better than Starmer, blimey. Yeah.
Freaking hell, he loves it. All right.
Are you guys going tomorrow, by the way?
Sorry?
Are you going to the game?
Yeah.
No. I'm not going.
You're not.
Do you know what?
I'm not going there.
Yeah.
I put all my tickets up for sale except for the Arsenal game, and none of them have sold. Not a single one.
I haven't even bothered putting my tickets up for sale anymore. It's just every game.
By the way,
80 quid just lights it up.
And anyone in the chat, if you want to go to the game tomorrow and you want a free ticket, I'm happy to give you my ticket rather than it go to waste. If you email
Same.
The Spurs Five. Well, there's two. There you go. 2 tickets. The Spurs Five at gmail.com. The Spurs Five at gmail.com. If you email us no later than tomorrow afternoon, we'll get 2 tickets across to you. Okay. There you go. And Danny as well. That's 3 tickets we've now got.
We can't give them away. We cannot give them away. Do you know what? I asked this before on my channel. I said, does anyone want a ticket for the game? It's free. And about 7 or 8 people went, yeah, I'll take it. I was like, I need your CRN. So I don't know who you are. So I'm not going to just, in case you go there like a donut. So no resales. Take the money, take the ticket and go. And they went, fuck it then. I don't want it.
Yeah, guys,
I only wanted the ticket to sell it on.
You need to have, that's a good point Sean's made. You need to have a CRN number for us to do this, because otherwise we get into a lot of trouble just randomly giving it to people that aren't.
So still, you're going from scarves to tickets now. What's next?
Mate, do you know, the thing is, right? I've actually got another.
Of those pins.
I've got 3 more tickets. Like all the people I sit with, none of them are going. There's 4. So there's 4 tickets here. Sean 5, Danny 6. Ben from Tottenham TV's got number 3. That's 9. I know at least about.
Surely Johnny's got like 800 tickets anyway. He must have a few that he can get rid of.
So I will be flying the flag for all of our slot tomorrow night at the grounds.
Stel, do Ange haters get it? Only if you say that I'm the best person on this channel. No, mate, if you want it and you've got a CRN number, email us and I'm happy to give it, because I'd rather someone goes than being an empty seat in the stadium. So I don't mind. All right, guys, we'll speak to you on Thursday, where we will discuss the Newcastle result and well, there's no game the following weekend, but it'll be the North London derby the week after. But all the super chats, thank you. Everyone who watched tonight, thank you. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Bye.
Bye, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.